1 minute to the deadline. Seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Deadline.
Hey, happy Friday night. We are coming to you here live in the Western European time zones here in prime time to cover the 2024 Dutch Open. We are glad to be here with you tonight. I am no good at this game, so I brought about as best as we can get here. We've got the reigning NADF DipCon champ, Katie Gray. Katie, welcome.
Thanks, Kevin.
Also, the 2023 WDC champion, and you won something this year. Was VDC last year, this year? Technically this calendar year, right?
Yeah, there's been a few tournaments I've played in this year. They're all fun.
Yeah. So I've got two of the best here. Sorry, Jamal Blackerby. Jamal, welcome.
Thank you.
And yes, to go over these games here, we've the Dutch Championship. I was doing a little research before we got started here. Now, you don't think of champions, well-known names in the European hobby, at least of recent. Most of them are French champions. But the Dutch Open goes back to 1977. Unbelievable history of play. I've got some good friends who I've met at some of the WDCs that we've held here in Chicago. Met some good people, and I can't wait to see if they're going to be on these boards today. Speaking of the boards today, let's take a look. Here is our top 10 by DBNI rankings. There's a lot of familiar names that we've seen from both virtual and face-to-face. Jamal, number one up at the top of the list there, Bradley Grace. He's competitive and cutthroat in every event he gets to, right?
He is. Bradley is a shark, but he's the best kind of shark. He's the one that that gives you a hug while it gives you a bite. And no, I've played a lot of games with Bradley actually, and yeah, I really like him as a player. Really big fan of his. Also number two there, I want to give a shout out to Micah Blom, big up and comer. Came 8th this year, so just missed out on the top board in WDC. So it's definitely one to watch.
You stole my thunder with Micah. So we'll go to Team Web Dip at number 3. About as good of a virtual player as you can get. Let's see what his face-to-face chops are. Katie, what do you think about McCallus' chance?
Well, McCallus won DipCon last year at Dixie, so I think his face-to-face is going to be just fine. And I hope nobody flew him in to the Netherlands and then, give him the chance to beat them like he did to David Hood.
I was going to slide that under there. I was going to say he's so good playing face-to-face, you forget how good he is. Or he's so good playing virtually, you forget how good he is playing face-to-face. He had that one, and I think he was pretty competitive at Whipping a couple of months before that, too. He was close to the top in that tournament as well. Isaac, you may remember from last week's broadcast, and has been a big help with VDL throughout this year. And a couple of these other names, Francesco, I did look back. So Francesco was a participant in 2010 when the Dutch held the WDC at the Hague. So that was a name I saw when looking at those results. So there will be a couple of old school Dutch names that I saw when we were looking through these tournaments. And of course, I won't forget Robert, because Robert, of everyone who's been participating in DBN broadcasts this year, Robert has hosted. He hosted the Weasel Moot a couple weeks back. So glad to see some DBN names on here, and can't wait to see some of these non-DBN names here. So before we get to the top boards, or before we get to the boards, they do not have a top board. This is taking place in Groningen. Am I saying that one right? Do we know?
It's probably like Groningen,
Yep.
but I don't know.
So that is where it is this year. It rotates, it seems, between Utrecht and, of course, Amsterdam and the Hague when they have their big events there. So perfect to go there. So we will transition into round one and board one right now. And we are here with round one, board one. In Austria, we have Perry Kester. In England, Jacob Kostner. France is Joni Zudinga. Germany, a name we know from back in the past, Frank Oostrom. Italy is Garrett Pelcher. Russia is Robert Schupa. Is that how we pronounce that one? And Turkey is Isaac Jukes. As we get to the map for 1901, Jamal, let's have you do the odd years, and Katie, let's do the even, and let's go right.
Alrighty. Well, it's a pretty normal opening, except we do see an Armenian fist bump going on in the east, which is love to see that. Some people hate it. I love it. Bouncing Galicia as well. Venice sneaking up to Tyrolia, which is just a nice little way to have a bit more of a say in what's going on. But look, other than that, it seems pretty normal. France is making the Picardy play to have some say in Belgium. But yeah, I mean, it's still a little bit early to see exactly where the alliances are. But it's kind of that trust but verify. Everyone's kind of on board, kind of not, kind of start.
Katie, anything opening meta? I know Jamal says he likes the Armenian fist bump. Is that too cliche now?
No, I like it too. And I also helped coin the phrase, so I'm a big fan.
Ooh, go Sundstrom. All right, let's head to the... Oops, wrong button. I can do that. Now we can do that. There we go. To the fall.
Yes, and the benefit of the Armenian fist bump is that Con can go straight out to Aegean. Bowl's moving to Rum, not really against anything, but just to force Sev to not go to Black Sea at the same time. So look, I think we're seeing Robert and Isaac getting on the same page pretty quickly here. Austria's gone pretty normal and continued the bounce in Galicia, and Italy's convoy to Tunis. So maybe Juggernaut versus IA is the setup, but we'll see how long. Yeah, it could still go anyway in the east. Yoni gets into Belgium pretty unopposed, which is great because Frank's decided to go back to Munich in case of Italian shenanigans. And the army's convoyed over to Norway because Jacob has been watching Australia and knows that this is how you have to start a Western Triple.
Boo. I'll boo that one.
You were lucky to miss last weekend's broadcast where every board of, I think, the 12 we covered had.
I would have left.
Isaac, who is on this board, was there to cover it all. And so maybe he knows how to defend it. But speaking of that, though, we didn't need support into Norway. Why is Norwegian doing that as opposed to maybe going for Barents? Is it not a Western Triple?
Well, I mean, you don't need support into Norway, but I mean, going to Barents is hyper committal, right? If you put the army over and also go to Barents, and you can't really justify building another army back on the land in that situation. Or maybe you can, but in Edinburgh or something. Like, you're just so committed to a Western Triple, or at least to a Northern foray if you're doing that, that if you make it, just takes away all of your options to do anything different. So if France puts a fleet Brest and suddenly you decide you want to turn around, that fleet being in Barents and not Norwegian is pretty out of position. So you can still do a pretty effective attack on Russia this way, and it's a little bit more hesitant, which I like.
Katie, as we head into winter 1901, we've got +3 for France, and the rest of the powers have about the normal builds. If you are France here, are you putting down 3 to set the message, or are you going to play soft and nice like everyone else and wave one like we saw all last weekend.
I'm pretty anti-waving. I think you've got 3 builds, do it. If you're going to Western Triple, you might as well get started. If you're not, go with your next plan. I mean, I think the reason not to is if you really aren't sure what to do, if you really just want to play nice with everybody. And, certainly that's a position that Yoni could be in. But I would say I probably wouldn't wave unless I was really didn't know who I wanted to work with.
Well, we didn't get that fleet Brest like you were mentioning, Jamal. We do get 2 armies, which can't be friendly for Germany, but they put down 2 armies as well. Fleet in Marseille, Fleet Smyrna, Fleet North Coast. So they were watching. Robert certainly was watching our broadcast last weekend. Fight against that Western Triple from the start. Spring 1902, Katie, let's hear him.
Yeah, it's a Western Triple where France is gonna wait a second and then just drop into everywhere else. I don't know. I think there's obviously an EG. I think that was very clear with Germany building 2 armies, and they're not in a position to turn on France in any way. I mean, I guess Yoni could drop into Irish, but I don't know. They're not going to. It's a Western Triple. In the East, we've got Robert saying, "Never mind, Isaac. I have to fight up north, so I'm going to make you my enemy in the South for some reason. I don't know if I fully understand that. But Robert is helping Austria into Bulgaria. Poor Isaac. That's a bummer. However, if there's one person that a Western Triple is good for, it's Turkey. So I'm hoping Isaac can make a comeback. And I mean, there's armies in Silesia and Bohemia, and Austria's going to have to turn around.
I think Robert's done this because he needs Austria in order to hold back Germany, right? So that Austria needs to be building and putting armies on the line, or at least defending the position. I think the one I'm looking at here is Garrett going back from Tyrolia, and what are you doing here?
Yeah, I don't fully understand that. I feel like maybe Garrett is, I don't know. I bet maybe Germany reacted really poorly to him going in the first place. I don't know. But if I'm Robert, I think the only thing you need Austria to do is be aware of the Western Triple. Austria cannot attack you with Turkey if Germany is coming after Austria. I mean, maybe if Austria really doesn't see the writing on the wall, they'll work with Germany to take Warsaw. But I just feel like that would be really short-sighted of Austria. So if I'm Russia, that's the pitch I'm making to Austria. It's not help me fight Turkey. It's, or maybe I don't know. There's a lot of speculation.
And maybe did Isaac sniff something out going to Armenia, or is it the other way around? What's the more likely scenario?
I mean, Armenia is a fine place to be, even if you're pro-Russia here, because you don't really have anything else you can do against them. So, I mean, it's just a bit of a protection move. I don't hate it. But actually, Katie, I do think you're right. Actually, if I was Robert, I would have pitched, "Hey, Perry, we need to fight Germany here," and Perry going east harder instead of going back west here is, Perry's not kept his side of the deal, and I'm pretty pissed off if I'm Robert.
I mean, maybe you offer him Bulgaria so he can get a build, but you don't keep doing this, and then
he's going to take Rum.
I don't know. I feel like Austria's making his own bed. He's going to sleep in it. I don't know. Okay, so in the fall of 2002, we see France fully committing. I mean, this is exactly, I think, what we expected to see. We've got Germany covering Berlin, but otherwise continuing to move east. We have England leaving Sweden, so Robert keeps that build actually, and only will lose 1 from Romania. It did move. Oh no, he covered Sev. I keep thinking that maybe they're trying to give Austria a build to fight Germany, but no. And then we've got Italy going to Trieste, so maybe that's for a fleet. I could see that one actually being arranged. Austria knows that they're getting at least Bulgaria and maybe Romania, so Italy's going to build a fleet out of that. But you really want to see armies moving towards Bohemia and Silesia. This is great for Western Triple and bad for the game of diplomacy.
And this is why sometimes a Western Triple can work, right? Because if you can pick up diplomatically that the East is chaotic and that they're going to be knives out for each other and not actually stick together in any kind of alliance, or if you have someone who's willing to crack, in this case, Perry, I mean, you just win. You just break the line and you win. And the East has to be completely coordinated against you, and it takes perfect play to stop it. Now, it's easy to, if you play perfectly, but if the minute something like this happens, the Western Triple is through.
I'm sorry, what a thing to say. It's easy if you're perfect. I just can't relate to that, Jamal, I guess. But no, I agree. Like it's stoppable, but at some point you haven't done enough, and I think they haven't done enough.
So Robert gets lucky, let's say. Maybe he negotiated. He goes, look, if I go down more, you guys are going to get stuck at St. Petersburg and Austria will grow. Maybe he talked his way out of Sweden or keeping Sweden. And so France really maybe regrets at this point not waiving, because you're stuck with three armies that aren't doing a whole lot. You need that third fleet now that Italy's building a third fleet. What is Robert pulling, Jamal? What should he pull? Not what will he?
I mean, he should pull Black Sea, because even if they're fighting each other, the East has to work against the Western Triple if any of them have a shot. I mean, if he's in any way pissed off at what Perry's done here, you pull Barents or Bothnia and you just go, F you brought this on yourself.
All right. What's your guess?
I think Robert's smart. I think he pulls Black.
Katie?
I think so too. I've never seen him be anything but reasonable.
All right. I'm going Bothnia. You went the other one.
Hey, maybe this is reasonable. I don't know what's going on in this game. Maybe it is.
He is a little perturbed.
I like to think I'm reasonable too, and if Austria is reacting this way to a Western Triple, I'd be pretty perturbed also.
Yeah, and that's true. And England did walk out of Sweden, so maybe that was the repayment. Hey, if you walk out of Sweden, I'll pull Barents. So
maybe I think he got lucky. I think Robert got lucky with that one, or Sweden's there in a second. So
yeah. So all right, nothing else to talk about. To Army Austria and fleet in Naples. Makes sense in this situation. Jamal, spring 1903.
Yeah, so the Triple makes some progress in the north, slowly, but they do take St. Petersburg with the army, which is pretty key. And that's going to start to unlock a whole lot of things here. Germany has guessed a bit wrong here, where they now are in Bothnia and Robert's in Sweden, but they don't have a defend on Denmark, so they're going to have to rely on England to defend Denmark, which is fine, but also a bit awkward. Otherwise, on the line, everything's just bouncing around. Yoni's gone for the cute little convoy to Tuscany, which I love, but in this situation, just support yourself to Piedmont. It's guaranteed. Just take the extra march up and then support your what would be in Marseille into Tuscany from there, and then Garrett's cracked. But that's okay. So there's a bit of slow progress here. Isaac and Robert are back on the same page, and they're punishing Perry, so they're putting Isaac back into Bulgaria. Which is reasonable. I think it looks like Perry thought they were getting a convoy to Ankara, but they weren't. So yeah, I think Robert's trying to scramble and cut himself a deal to survive, or at least have be in some kind of position here. I don't know what it is, but I trust him to get there.
Yeah. Do you see Trieste supporting Bohemia? Oh wait,
Trieste supported Tyrolia to Vienna.
Oh right, so actually, it looks like everyone's pissed off at Perry, and they're selling him down the river. Which
for good reason too. Perry supported armed to Sev, and then wanted Russia's convoy to Ankh.
Yeah.
Okay, but Perry is the chaos player. Yeah. Everyone's sick of Perry's shit.
I love it. Okay, so. As mentioned, Denmark needs to be. Oh, I'll help cover it. Oh, sure. Just let me walk in, please.
Yeah, if I'm Robert, I'm letting England take that, because Germany should not be Western Tripling, and this is what you get, Germany.
Yeah. And then RT back on board, at least for the moment, and the South is stalled. Jamal, let's see if that continues.
Yep. Well, Robert takes back Romania. Isaac loses Bulgaria, but that's fine. Isaac has an ally now, so he's okay. They pop Robert out of Sweden, which then retreats into Denmark. So Jacob and Frank don't have the trust to let Jacob cover Denmark. So that's bad for Frank. I think this is all round a bad turn for Frank, because Yoni's decided that in a 1907 game, they're not getting much more out of Italy. That they tried their convoy, it didn't work. So now maybe let's go get some Holland and some Munich and that kind of thing. So yeah, Frank has left the door open a little bit and is being punished for it. Which, everyone says Germany gets screwed in the Western Triple, and this is happening again this time. I will say doesn't necessarily have to happen. There are ways around that. But but I think the misplays around Scandinavia are really, you have to play perfectly if you're Germany in a Western Triple for it to work out for you. And it's easy if you play perfectly, right? That's the theme of the day. It's easy if you just do perfect things. But Frank, unfortunately, has played well, but not perfectly, and is now maybe in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, you're just really overcommitting, and I feel like the convoy into Tuscany not going off was a blessing in disguise for Yoni. Because I mean, what was she gonna get? I mean, maybe eventually she sneaks into something. I don't know. It's 3 Italian fleets on year 2. I mean, you're relying on Germany to help you into Venice, maybe. Like that's a lot, and there's just really no growth. And I forgot that these were 1907 games, so there's super no growth. So I really like this turnaround from Yoni.
So we get into winter 1903. England gets the build out of St. Petersburg, Russia and Germany trade centers, and no other adjustments for Russia. No, how did they lose? Oh, yeah, they lost St. Petersburg, but gained Romania.
And Denmark.
Turkey is rebuilding after the PIF of Bulgaria. And that is it here. Army Eddie, Army Ank.
And Jacob's on Yoni's side here and is about to convoy into Holland.
With support, 2 on Munich, only 2 on Munich versus 3, but that will pull back. So this opens up for the southeast now.
I think Jacob should Jacob. I don't know. I think Jacob should drop into hell, and France should just take Holland personally. But
yeah, either way.
You get to read the orders. They do go for the convoy.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, I don't know how Munich was left that unguarded. That's really wild that Frank decided it was somehow more important to help Austria retake Trieste than to defend Munich. That's really shocking. He also took back Denmark, and England said, thank you, I'm going to follow you to Sweden. England is now in Holland, as Jamal predicts. France is up 1. I mean, it's the spring, but France is up 1. England up 2 at the moment. Germany down 1. So it's sure it doesn't always go bad for Germany in a Western Triple, but it does sometimes. On the other side of the board, Isaac's having a great little recovery. He has made it into Bulgaria and Greece, and Serbia is empty. So unless Robert decides Robert wants Bulgaria, that's going to go to Isaac. And I think, and Greece. I mean, unless Robert stabs Isaac, I don't think he can lose either of those 2. So he may be getting 2 builds this year also.
Pretty straightforward. About as straightforward. Now, Jamal, you might not have been watching our coverage since you were TDing last week, but Germany had the best results of the weekend, all during Western Triple Mania. So
this is it, right? If you know how to play a Western Triple, then Germany does great.
Yeah, the results speak for themselves. Fall 1904, Katie. The Western Triple has collapsed.
Yeah, and as has Germany. Germany is now left on Berlin, and I believe that is it because Robert is in Kiel, England is in Denmark, England is in Holland, France is in Munich. Yeah, Frank is on 1 center. That's rough. Isaac does keep his 2 builds, and Perry does keep Trieste.
Also, I just want to point out a very nice piece of diplomacy here. Robert has left Moscow open and convinced Jakob not only to not walk into Moscow, but also to support them into Kiel. Now, I know they're giving up Denmark kind of in that trade, but that's a very good piece of diplomacy by Robert Schuper here.
Very nice. As you mentioned, we go from 5 to 1 for Frank. So pulling 4. We'll see which one. England, the big winner, is building 3. Isaac, for his patience, and as true with most times for Turkey in a Western Triple, does well. Builds 2, and France builds 1. 3 years left to go. France puts down Army Marseille. Probably regrets that now with Piedmont going. Maybe not. We'll think about that. England, in Australian fashion, does wave. Puts down 2 fleets. And which one? Germany kept Silesia.
But where's England going now? I mean, England's built 2 fleets. How can they go after anyone except for France? And yet they didn't build in Liverpool.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know that I don't like it, but I don't understand the English build. So I am excited to see what he does.
Very, very sneaky. Isaac's builds, Jamal, any thought on those?
No, I mean Isaac's path to a decent score here is to stick with Robert. And I think that they've had most of the trust all game. They fought a little bit when they felt they had to, but I think this is a pretty legitimate juggernaut here that's going to try and race the EF. And I mean, I don't think there's much catching Yoni here. Much catching Jacob, and especially as they go to English Channel.
Yep.
So now they're just sitting there. And I think, Katie, it was a case of, I reckon they would have promised not to build in Liverpool. It was a deal. I won't build in Liverpool. You don't build in Brest. And then you build in London and go to the English Channel anyway. And what are they going to do about it? I mean, they could still be working together, though, because they are helping Yoni into Kiel, which is not the thing you do if you're actually stabbing France. So maybe there's a nice little dipsy doodle going on. And again, for another year, Jacob doesn't take the walk into Moscow. So again, good diploming from Robert and Jacob here, which I would be worried about if I was Yoni. If Jacob is not making progress against Russia, where are they making progress? So there's a bit of concern there. Otherwise, in the East, there's just some shuffling around. Yoni loses some ground in Western Med. A tip for newer players: if your units aren't doing anything, just support each other. Leon supports Western Med here. Could have just prevented this, and it's not. You're not doing anything else with it, so just do it. But other than that, it looks like maybe Perry's got a lifeline here. Robert pulling out a little bit. I'm not sure. It's probably a stab on Bulgaria, actually, from Robert there. Wow, this game is just deciding to... All alliances are disintegrating very quickly.
I like Perry immediately taking Venice.
Yeah.
Abreast of the line. Oh, wait.
Wild.
All right. So Robert does make progress south. We'll see if that was welcomed or not.
Robert can't even keep Bulgaria, though.
Oh,
Wait,
yeah.
What has happened?
I get end state, possibly?
Yeah. They could have agreed to a draw state here, so they're just trading centers around. Or they could have just not put in a bunch of orders if actually nothing happened.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we had some we'll say our thanks at the beginning of the broadcast this week for our backstabbers, as we call them, for entering the orders in. We thank you. These broadcasts do not happen without those volunteers during the game, so we thank you for that. And yes, as you mentioned last time, sometimes orders are not entered if they were either misordered or invalid of some kind. So maybe there was support for Western Med and it wasn't entered. We don't know that. We just analyze what we see on the board here. So good advice for newer players to don't forget to enter orders in, but that might not be what happened. So with nothing else moving in this case, we're getting to a shared board top. But a lot of adjustments here. We've got 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, actually all 7 adjusting here. So Frank, we say goodbye. Thanks to Frank. Well, if they're getting to an end state, they did build though. So Army London, Fleet Brest, Adriatic goes, Aegean goes, Army Sev for further progress forward. Surprised with Army Vienna. Thoughts?
I'm guessing they just had to finish the year and they just put down defensive stuff in case. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I hope that's what happened because that last 2 turns made no sense otherwise.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
And
So we
agreed.
get to a 1905 end of 1905 end state with a shared EF top. Jamal, you started us out with the analysis here. Give us your first take on the summary of the game.
I mean, whichever alliance sticks together wins, right? And in a lot of these shorter form games, alliances don't stick together. EF stuck together the whole time. They turned on Germany together. Even that drop into English Channel didn't eventually go to Brest, so it was maybe not actually a stab. And the East couldn't get an alliance going, and so they didn't get to reap the rewards. So this is great play by both Jacob and Yoni.
Katie, the rest of the board really never got together. I know the alliance sticking together, but there really wasn't a chance, was there?
I don't know. I mean, we're giving Perry a lot of flack for being sort of a chaos player, but he wasn't the only one that made a lot of seemingly, I don't know, not necessarily random, but maybe impulsive decisions or short-sighted ones. Or maybe people just didn't know what was going on the board in general. They're being misled or they weren't reading it right and we're reading it wrong. I don't know. I think that the East was just chaos. Germany made a few miscalculations and France took advantage of that. And then England really took advantage of that. I think, Yoni played well and clearly had a very good diplomatic game, but I really think Jakob could have really gone away with this a bit. I think a lot of this result is him just honoring his agreement maybe to have a shared board top, because this didn't have to be the result by any means.
But it was a shared top, and that is how we end round 1, board 1. Round 1, board 2 will get us to Tom de Griff and DBNI player from past in Austria, Remer van der Ems. Sorry about that, England.
I'm loving your pronunciation, Kevin. It's the best part of the broadcast.
Usually Brian Preble gets stuck with this, and I tease him from the producer's seat. Now me being in the chair, I'm paying the price. Richard Koenig in France, Rennie van Rooyen, we know Rennie, in Germany, Francesco Conti, one of our DBNI ranked players in Italy, Isa Blom, maybe related to Micah in Russia, and Klaas de Graaf in Turkey. A lot of good names, I think, from the initial DBNI here on this board.
Yeah, I recognize Tom and Clace. They're both web dippers, so I'm no longer really a web dip person, but I'm secretly rooting for the two of them.
Once a web dipper, always a web dipper, right?
I guess so.
All right. Well, then, since you are in Team Web Dip, we will make you go first on this in spring 1901.
All right, we have another Armenian fist bump. Looks like the Dutch have figured out how to play Turkey and to some extent Russia, but I think it's really beneficial for Turkey. Everything else, very standard. Marseille to Gascony is a little unusual. I'm not sure if it matters. Yeah, everything else very standard.
Golden Venice.
I will add that the Armenian fist bump was not fist bumped by ISA. It was a bounce in Black Sea by ISA.
Oh, you're right. I totally didn't read that.
Yeah. So
all right. So that's actually not an Armenian fist bump at all. So ignore the entire thing that I just said about that. And it could still be an agreed bounce in Black Sea. If it wasn't agreed, then I think it's really lucky that Russia did go to Black Sea. But I think we'll just have to see what happens.
So we got the Sundstrom I mentioned from the first game, the not Sundstrom that happened in the first game.
We're all getting our names.
Yep. Fall 1901.
That's interesting. Okay. Clay's doesn't try for Black Sea, but does tap Sev and Rum. Oh, and Germany bounces Russia out of Sweden. So Germany has no builds. Sorry, Russia has no builds, and that's really not the way you want to start the game as anybody, but especially as Russia, and especially when England is convoying an army into Norway. Again, another classic sign of a Western triple. There's a bounce. We can't applaud that. We cannot support that on this show. I think everything from the West looks like a triple. There's a bounce in Belgium, but I mean, that could so easily be agreed. And I mean, that I think it just looks like another Western triple, and it looks like Russia is going to be off to a really bad start. And I think England's probably going to have another good game. That's how I would read this first year, personally. I don't know what Serbia is doing, a joke order, I guess.
Yeah.
But those
so Serbia just doesn't want to get involved. It's just fair enough. If you have Russia and Turkey fighting, why pick a side?
So it could have been a misorder, and he meant to support Albania to Greece.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
that is an interesting debug or bugging error that Brandon has in the software. So
the fleet has to go into outer space
to come back. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So we see more balanced here. +2, +2, +2, but a big 0 in Russia. How are they repaid? Oh, Fleet Ankara. Oof.
Fleet Ankara and Fleet Berlin.
Yeah. Oh. I hadn't made my way up that far yet. Fleet Brest, Fleet Liverpool. So no signs of Western triple in this one. Sorry. Downward W.
Yeah. Liverpool is great. I love to see Liverpool because Brest doesn't mean anything, right? Like Brest is 2 moves away from Western Med. But Fleet Liverpool does mean something. So that's exciting. I think it means EG. But
EG, yeah.
Yeah.
Which didn't turn out too well in game 1, but let's see how it turns out in spring 1902, Jamal.
So ISIS found a friend, which is great. Tom de Grief is supporting her into Romania. Ankara is going for Sev, and Armenia is going for Black Sea, which looks like a bunch of misorders, which is a godsend for ISA here. Because if Armenia had gone to 7, and I mean, I guess it stays the same either way. But ISA is now actually in a very defensible position. She's given up on Sweden, which is the correct thing to do here, and just walk back out. You're not playing in the north this game. If you can get some play in the south, go do that. And it actually looks like an air. So Tom and Francesco are moving on Aegean. There's a bunch of bouncing into roll here to stop any kind of Western triple shenanigans. And yeah, the triple is not on. Rimmer and Richard are at war. And Renee has decided, well, you can all be at war, and I'm just going to go take Belgium, and then I'll probably take Sweden. And you guys just keep fighting here. It's fine.
All right. Into the fall. Oh, a lot of orders.
The France-England war continues, bouncing in English Channel, but now Rimmer is in the North Atlantic Ocean, and Renee is, just tapping Burgundy to defend Belgium, but not really trying to push too hard. Looks like maybe they're on Rimmer's side because they're not forcing Sweden here. So Germany may have picked a side in this one. And the air lasts. I was going to say the air lasts all of a turn, but maybe Trieste is alone to get another Italian fleet out there because they have gone for the attack on Con, which is ambitious and didn't work. But it did mean that Bulgaria was blocked and blown up, which is nice. Klaus has gotten into the Black Sea, but there's just more dipsy doodles. We're now Black Seas in Armenia. And Isa has seemingly diplomed her way into no further advancement in the north. So she can go and play a southern game with her new air allies, which I think is a really good turnaround for her.
I do. I have this. I have no idea if this is likely at all, but I would love for Francesco to just have been like, I meant to write Tyrolia. I don't know how I wrote Trieste. We were supposed to bounce there again. That would be
Potentially.
Maybe the comments in the chat will let us know. We will see about that here. Into Winter 02. So, Francesco gets the build from Trieste. Isa does pick up Romania. Germany picks up Belgium. And Reimer picks up Sweden. What do we see from those builds? Another fleet in the north. Army Berlin. EG sticking together, Army Moscow, sensible there, and Fleet Naples. Nothing surprising or shocking. Let's go to spring 1903.
All right, so this time Italy does get the convoy off. It's straight into Smyrna. That was a really fun read. I'm pretty sure the Trieste was alone because Tyrolia is back in Trieste, and I'm imagining it was just to get a fleet earlier so that maybe Italy can go get a piece of France before France falls, or get to Iberia first, or maybe even help prop France up. But I would guess get to Iberia first. It looks like a pretty stable AI to me. Of course, they do have Russian support, which is nice because Russia is really not a threat to either of them. So use Russia to help take out Turkey and then move on. That doesn't mean you have to attack Russia, but it also doesn't mean Russia has to get centers out of Turkey. And in the West, we've got England taking the Channel, which was guaranteed, although not the way they did it, but it did work out. France is supporting something to Belgium.
North Sea, trying to cut a deal to put England into Belgium instead.
France is trying to cut a deal to put England into Belgium. Oh, yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Although there's no way England would ever go to Belgium from the North Sea. So, Richard, if you're watching this, you might need a different pitch because that's just wouldn't happen. North Sea is too important to give up, and the fleet really can't go anywhere after that. Let's see. Germany is in Silesia, but not really moving east in general otherwise. So perhaps just some defensive posturing. I think that's all I see this year.
Yeah, the loan of Trieste last time was perfect because Smyrna is now picked up. Likely with Khan may fall. We will see about that. And Khan does fall.
And actually it goes to Italy, which I didn't fully expect. I would have thought Austria would get an army build here. But Germany's really not attacking them, so maybe they don't feel like they need it right now. England makes it to MAO, as was guaranteed, and does leave the North Sea, which is a little a little unexpected. I think if I were England, I would have. Well, I don't know. I assume the bounce in Sweden was arranged, so I don't know.
I suspect Renee's probably demanding it because you've got moves on Holland. So Renee's probably saying, I'm not going to move on Burgundy or France at all until you're out of the North Sea and can't stab me anymore. Which, is maybe something you have to do.
Yeah, but then he should be out of Denmark, I think, if that's the case.
Yeah. And maybe you got the Sweden bounce. Yeah, I don't love it from Rimmer, but if I'm Rimmer, I'm saying, well, you work with me, or else I do take Holland here. So yeah, I'll be interesting to see how long this EG lasts, because it looks like it's E doing all the heavy lifting and G just sitting there and demanding E move away from them.
Yeah, maybe, and they're working on maybe toward get to St. Pete now. That'll be next year as the fleets move. So Austria could only build one, so the pickup of Trieste will allow for the build in Vienna. So maybe there'll be a loan or a give back next year. So we do see +1 in Italy, +1 in Austria. Turkey will be left with 1, and that is it.
With class going down to 1, the one thing I did want to say that I've seen this game is it's very important to point out that Tom has caused a lot of grief for De Graaf. It's been hard.
Boo.
The 19.
And now that they've dealt with Turkey, the AI is now just moving on to their next targets. So Tom is moving up into Russia, and Isa's also getting hit by England and Germany in the north. And this is the tricky thing, right? When Isa was in such a rough position at the start of the game, she did a great job to find herself back in a playable position here, but always had to play the junior partner to both of the alliances around her. So, it was an Italy-Austria that she had to work with, and then also a Germany-England. And, it's hard to be suddenly the preferred partner of either of those two alliances once the first target is done. A rough turn for Isa. Francesco is pausing a second here, just going to take anchor and just kind of sit. I think let Tom move away and just make sure that alliance is solid, which I don't hate as a move set. And also, why help the takedown of Richard in France if you're not going to get much out of it? You're probably going to get Marseille and Spain anyway from this position. So there's no need to speed this up. The West just kind of, okay, so they're doing the bounce in North Sea now, which is, I think, maybe the agreed way that they're going to keep this clean in the EG. The West is stalling a little bit here because unless Francesco does come in and take Marseille and Spain, they can't really get far.
Are England's moves too conservative, too tentative this turn? You got to Mid-Atlantic, and then now you just hold?
Burgundy is guaranteed if English Channel taps Picardy and MAO taps Gascony. I guess technically Picardy could tap Belgium, but whatever. It's pretty guaranteed, especially if Munich had helped out. So it sort of seems like neither of them are super interested in going farther into France.
Well, I think neither of them are interested in the other one getting further into France without them getting further into France. So you're absolutely right, Katie. The perfect Katie Gray play here is the alliance play where you tap Picardy and you actually get Germany into Burgundy and then you crack everything. But not everyone is as good as you, and so some people, I think, they struggle to get their allies to actually make the alliance play that's necessary.
Well, we are thrilled that you are both here to explain that to newer players. So we appreciate that here. See if there's any movement in fall 1904, Jamal.
Okay, so they do manage to get some things together here. So they go for Brest, which, again, is forcing France to guess on Burgundy or Brest. They guess wrong. What is Picardy? Yeah, so Picardy supporting Burgundy instead of supporting Brest, and Gascony's covering Marseille. And again, this is sometimes why I like just sitting there and doing nothing, right? Because you can almost psych people out. So Richard felt like they had to defend Marseille here when they didn't. Now they've lost Brest for the fact that they felt like they had to defend Marseille, and Francesco was actually helping them. It was going to help them into Mid-Atlantic Ocean, and they didn't take it. Good play by Francesco actually in kind of not moving. And again, the solid alliance here being the Tom Francesco one. So, Bulgaria is going to Constantinople here, and Francesco is picking up Ankara. So we say goodbye to Klaus, unfortunately. Oh, we don't say goodbye to Klaus. Klaus slips into Sev. the sneaky Dutchman as he is. Romania's doing some brace thing, but it's staying there. It's fine. And yeah, Isa is unfortunately dropping pretty heavily this turn, losing Sev, St. Petersburg, and Romania. So this is, again, looks like Isa is maybe the next one on the menu here for the rest of the board.
If Belgium's order was to support Munich into Burgundy, maybe this is
Ruhr supported Belgium. Ruhr did not support the attack.
Oh, why did it support? Ruhr supported Belgium.
Yeah.
Okay, if I'm England, so there's a possibility. I don't know any of these players, so I don't want to make assumptions about how familiar they are or not familiar they are with tactics and stuff. But if I'm England and these are Germany's moves, this is not like alliance play. It's not the way that Jamal said that I like to run alliances, and he's right. I mean, there is a much better chance of Brest being taken if Picardy is tapped. Belgium tapping Picardy and Ruhr supporting Munich into Burgundy is just as likely to work as this. I think it's just really suboptimal. And then taking Sweden on top of it is just kind of like, you didn't really help me get Brest and you're taking Sweden. Now, I understand it's probably because England is getting St. Pete. So they're still up one because they did get Brest. But I just think you're not making a lot of progress. France is not the quickest country to take down. And I think you really need to gain some momentum. And England is already in a position where if you're getting momentum on France, you're not putting yourself out of position anywhere else. Like, there's no downside to it. So I say just go. So I would be a little bit frustrated if Rene wasn't helping out as much as he could be.
And I think one thing we're seeing here is the European style of play, right? So, we all have different styles of play, and they range from Australian to bad. And, the European style of play is less alliance based because of this 1907 kind of C Diplo system, right? So I think what you see a lot in Europe is you don't see these big alliances forming, and you don't see actual solid, good, perfect KD Gray play because because at the end of the day, no one actually wants their ally to get too far ahead, because if your ally is 1 or 2 ahead, that's actually really bad for you at the end of the game. So these kind of cagey half alliances is what you see a lot more happening. It's why you see a lot more, say, 8 or 9 center tops rather than 12 center tops, because people just aren't willing to lock in and go for those big scores collaboratively.
I think sorry, I didn't want to cut you off.
Well, no, I was just going to say the consequence of that is you don't necessarily get the right moves. You don't get to take people down as quickly as you could.
I think that's a really good point and probably has a lot of merit. I also think there's something else that maybe is not as important in a 1907 game if it just goes quickly, but I played a lot of games that are over at 1907 and they didn't have to end at 1907. So maybe that's a really different, like, knowing it ends at 1907 is probably very different. But I also think you have to be a little careful because if you're allied with someone, but you're not helping with them, I mean, how do you know they're not just gonna, like, if you're not working for me, why am I working with you? I think that there's a chance that people could get impatient and sort of turn around. But maybe there's no time in these games to do that. So maybe it's a little safer than I think it is.
Yeah, quick games, quick negotiations, quick. It's over so fast. The long-term strategy is not as much. It's the setup for the stab at the end. So we'll see. One last note on that is Francesco with the hopeful brace for Mid-Atlantic and then holding in Piedmont instead of bouncing in Marseille. Francesco had a read on the orders that turn. One worked and the other tried to help France in one and didn't help them in the other. So who knows? One build for England and Germany, each one pull from France, 2. Tom de Grief giving everyone grief by pulling away.
No, you can't do it too, Kevin.
I did it. Jamal supported me. I'm taking it. 2 armies for Austria, Armenia, and Ukraine off the board makes sense. Army London. We'll see where that has a chance to go. And Army Berlin again.
Ooh, Spain.
Together. Oof, good convoy.
It's completely open. There's nothing that can stop that convoy. That's amazing. Okay, so yeah, London goes straight to Portugal. And I suppose that's not completely safe. Technically, it's pretty safe. It's pretty cool. England is in Portugal with an army that's really nice. What a great use of that build. Germany is finally in Burgundy. It's almost a little too late because they're not going to pick up Marseille. Italy was sort of always going to get Marseille, but now they definitely are. And I guess Germany will get Paris out of all this.
Yep.
And it's really, it's probably not great for them, especially now that you've got Austrian armies bordering Munich. But I think, what are we seeing? So Sev has 3 on it, I think will fall, and then Warsaw maybe next year. I don't know. I'm sure they've thought about the tactics, but I think that this is probably Turkey's last year, and the AI is still going strong.
The scoring system, as mentioned in the kickoff, is the C Diplo number, which is the 7 Years War system. For those who watch us on League Night, the next one of those will be Saturday, December 14th. We'll talk about that at the end of the broadcast too. For the rest of this spring, so this is, Jamal, this is the aggression that maybe took a little too long, and now Germany will pay the price as Austria has the freedom to jump up closer before they get their builds.
Yeah, they're not necessarily going to get anything out of Germany here, but the play here from Tom is just to make sure Germany's not going to contest them for the board top, which is the right set of moves here.
Yep. All right, for the fall, let's see. Oh, sneaking through to the south.
I think moving to Western Met is pretty fun. I definitely would have followed MAO up to it. I guess maybe England is hedging a bit against Germany turning around. I really think they can't get on the same page because now, Belgium is just tapping Picardy, but there's no support for it. That should have gone, and Germany should be taking Paris next year, right? So I don't know. Maybe they really are just being too cautious with each other. I do like England picking up Spain and Marseille. That's sort of, I think, what we expected. And it's kind of nice when it works out for Italy to go do that. I think a lot of times Italian players see Spain and Marseille as, it's like, I don't remember, I'm going to forget the analogy, but it's sort of like fool's gold maybe, where it looks appealing, but I don't know. I think they often don't get it. They got it, and I think they can keep it, and they'll be building so they can put some fleets down. This is the fall, so yeah, I think England won't be able to hold on to Tunis even if they take it next year. So I think this is good for the AI once again. They're playing a lot more as a team than the EG, so I'm really not surprised to see them being a little bit more successful. There was no bounce in North Sea, so I don't know, maybe they just didn't put it in Backstabber, or they just decided that they trust each other. But I think they probably just didn't put it in Backstabber.
It's a nice world when you're Francesco and you get to go up 3 here, and I don't think anyone expected you to go up 3. So suddenly you've leapt into the lead. And yeah, you were worried a little bit about Tom dropping the hammer at some point here, and now you can properly defend it. So this is really good from Italy.
Well, the first game worked into a shared board top. Now with the Italian army and Stev, they'll be able to take down. I would assume the Russian centers at some point to share it, and then Venice and Tunis. We'll see how those shake out. France is down to 1. England is building 1, and Francesco waves. We'll see.
There's some strong alliance play from Italy here, where you leave the door open for Tom to still stab you if he wants to. I hope it works out for him. I think it might. I think there's enough trust there. But this is Francesco and Tom playing like me and Katie would play this, which is obviously, as we've said, perfect.
All right, let's see the tactics to take down the Russian centers, and they start working on that.
Yeah, the one move that stands out for me here is Vienna to Trieste, which is totally unnecessary and would be ringing alarm bells for me if I am Francesco. Because now Venice is guaranteed if Tom wants it, and it's 1906, so maybe Tom does want it. Sev is probably guaranteed as well, and yeah, there's just stab options are. If Tom has any desire to take this board top and wants to be greedy here, they can. And Francesco, I think, has given up with those builds the opportunity to kind of force at least a shared situation here. That being said, they are getting their fleets into position. They're not losing Marseille and Spain, which is great. Rimmer's making some progress into Mid-Atlantic Ocean, but again, there's a lot of sitting around. Renee does get into Picardy here, so we'll take Paris in the fall, which is nice for them. And yeah, so this looks like I think the end of this season is going to be a little bit stale, but the next season you could see all the fireworks go off if they decide to do it.
I don't think Tom is going to stab, but that's because I don't think he needs to. I think that Italy is going to lose Spain. And well, I guess Germany's probably more concerned about taking Paris. So maybe Italy does hold on to Spain for one more year, but that's guaranteed to fall. And Russia is the one in Moscow. So I think he certainly could. Yeah, I think you're right. Maybe this turn is not what we'll see, but I wouldn't be surprised if Austria ends up back on the board top without having to stab. Oh,
Whoa!
Okay.
Well, okay.
All right, so Rimmer's putting Isla back into Moscow, which makes sense, and then, but Tom is guessing correctly and slipping into Warsaw there. So no stab. You're absolutely right, Katie, because Tom has been listening. Perfect, like you.
Okay, but Germany did the thing that helped England this turn instead of helping himself, which I wasn't expecting based on previous things, and did not take Paris. I'm sorry, I know I'm stealing your thunder, but I was pretty surprised about that.
Yeah, maybe they've also been listening to the Katie Gray radio and realized that they have to get better, so they need to work together more. But well, yeah, and that's probably a trade, right? Norway doesn't have to go to Barents there, so maybe the trade here is you help me into Spain, I'll give you Norway. Norway to Barents is a choice. I don't know why you wouldn't go to North Sea or Norwegian Sea.
Yeah.
Even if you don't want to go to North Sea, Norwegian Sea might be a good place to be here. And now suddenly Rimmer has given Renee a bunch of stab options in 1907, which it's a European game. I don't know.
Yeah, because he's still got Paris waiting. He can support himself to North. He doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah, no build for England here. Oh man, this is going to be fun. Let's see if 1907 is played out. Austria walks back into the lead. Italy does build an army to be a little defensive this time. Makes sense. Spring. Oh, they are going to play. All right, Katie, let's finish it out here.
All right. I don't know how much of this is necessary. I'm sorry, but Burgundy supporting Berlin to Gascony is kind of funny to me because I guess Gascony, I don't know what that does. It can't help do anything on Marseille. England at the same time does take back Norway, and Renee retreats to Sweden. So that was obviously planned. The EG is together, and maybe they were just being a little inefficient earlier, or maybe it just took a while for them to form this trust. But I think they're pretty clearly together, and I don't think that they can even take anything from each other in the last turn.
Yeah,
so
boy, if
they're together.
Norway goes to Norwegian, Denmark goes to North this time, Eddie is guaranteed. Paris is guaranteed.
Yeah, he could have just retreated to Norwegian. He didn't even need to be in North.
Yeah.
But you're still losing Norway, and like, I mean, if you did that though, you're also losing Sweden here, right? So you're not actually gaining very much, even if you guarantee.
Well, you don't have to lose Sweden because you can put Denmark into Sweden.
Well,
but
not if you go Denmark to North.
Yeah, you're gonna.
Well, I think you could have just done Norway to North or Norwegian. Yeah. It doesn't matter. They're sticking together, and they're gonna probably just let Austria top, I think.
All right, Paris does fall. Spain does fall back again. Ooh, how do we?
Italy takes Spain back, but Austria takes Smyrna. So Austria. Oh, they're gonna share it. They're gonna share it too.
Sharing it. Well done.
Yep.
Sharing is caring.
No.
Oh, what did we miss?
Smyrna.
No, I said Smyrna. I guess I just didn't count right. Oh
yeah.
Munich? No.
Where are we at?
Yeah.
9 to 10.
So they pick up. They pick up Moscow and Spain, but they lose Smyrna, so Italy goes up 1, and Austria goes up 1 still. So yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
There we go.
Very good.
Nice. And EG didn't finish too far behind. A couple centers. If this is sort of a rank-based thing, that might not be a great score, but in terms of the board, well, actually, in terms of the board, if this game continues, Italy definitely has an advantage. But still, I mean, the second alliance came in second, which I guess is what you expect.
Yeah. And Francesco's 36 is not too far off from the shared top last time of 47.
Oh, the scores are up there. Have I ever done this before?
Welcome back. You're playing and winning so much, you forget how these score things work.
I mean, I was going to say the theme of this game is to continue. Whoever plays the most like Katie wins, right? So whoever's the closest to perfection just ends up winning the board. So, you form an alliance and you run it and one of you wins. Yep.
See, Jamal is perfectly times these one-liners to come in.
Congrats, Tom.
Yep. Well played,
Go
Tom.
Team Web Dip. No, just
Tom-
kidding.
There you go.
Tom,
See, that's
Tom causing the grief for the whole board here.
No.
oh, I didn't go there.
How many times can we do it?
We are
All
gonna.
all broadcast, every time he's there.
He's not allowed to play anymore.
If he played a second board here, but he doesn't, we have Arian Decker in Austria. We have Xander Lenstra in England, Marcus Olsen in France, David Wigglesworth from Great Britain in Germany, Alexander von Finkenstein in Italy, Bradley Grace in Russia, and David DeGraff in Turkey.
Oh, are they related and they both got Turkey? That's. Oh wait, no. Sorry, that was a. Never mind. I got my Dutchman mixed up. Sorry, guys.
Like the Jones of the Dutch, DeGraff. All right, I gave it a pause there so that way I could edit this out quickly. So we've got 22 minutes on this one. One more. Yep.
Yeah.
All right, pause the face for a second here. Oh, shoot, the timer's been counting. Well, no one will notice that. So, all right, so we are going to the orders. And whoops, I'll switch you guys around. We'll put Jamal back up top. Jamal, give us spring 1901.
Spring 1901. Everyone does everything normally except for Austria and Italy, and so Italy's going into Piedmont, which is nice, and also going to Naples with Rome, which it's fine. There's nothing particularly wrong with that, particularly if you trust Austria. Austria's taken Serbia and decided not really to move anything else. A little bit cagey there, giving up a shot at Greece, but keeping your friends, which is a nice thing to do.
Russia opens north also.
Russia does open.
Oh, yes. Sneaky Bradley Grace. Let's see what he does with it. Goes to Finland.
Yeah, goes to Finland and convinces Xander not to convoy to Norway. So that's a win for Bradley there. Takes Romania with the fleet and also convinces David to rotate through and free up to kind of play in the south here, and also convinces David to try and bounce Aaron out of Greece. So Bradley doing a lot of diplomatic heavy lifting here. Everyone Xander supported Marcus into Belgium. I'm hoping we're going to see a Western triple. Other than that, it's looking okay. So I think advantage Bradley based on what I'm seeing here, but that's very tight.
I like this opening for Bradley. I don't tend to open north very much. I'm a little too cautious, but it can be a really fun way to play. And it can be a really great way to play if Austria is particularly weak. And Austria is clearly not having a good start. And that makes it a little safer for that army of Bradleys to be up in Finland instead of, defending the southern centers like it normally would be.
We get the convoy to Tunis as well. Let's see what the follow-up build to that is Fleet Venice, because that's exactly what we would expect after the convoy. 2 fleets for France. That's what I like to see when you get 3. I know Fleet Brest is hard to sell sometimes, but take it when you can get it. Fleet London, since Edinburgh was stuck there. Normal German builds of Kiel and Munich. It's the first time we've seen that today. Army Sev, Fleet North Coast. So play in the north. Katie, more play in the north.
Lots of play in the north. Bradley had Norway guaranteed. He takes it. England retreating fairly conservatively to Norwegian instead of to Barents, which I think is probably smart, and it's probably what I would do. But it is not looking very good for Xander because Germany has supported themselves to hell, and France is moving north. Now, I think France is moving north, but also dropped into Lyon, and Marcus did not have to do that. Could have put Spain into Gascony and put Marseille into Spain. So if I'm Italy, I'm a little skeptical about that. But the opening up to the channel is fairly definitive. I think it really just screams FG because, Paris is moving away from Burgundy, which is kind of wild. But why not? Bradley says, yes, there's a weak Austria, but there's also an out of position Turkey, and I'm going to gobble up Turkey. I can make puns too, even though that's one of the worst that you can make in policy. So Bradley's turn has moved south on Turkey, and there are no armies in the center of Russia, which is really, really a risky way to play. But I think is also really fun and could be quite successful, and hopefully it doesn't lead to the situation that we all know where you're Russia on 8 centers, leading the board, and then all of a sudden everyone decides they have to kill you.
No way. 18 or bust. 18 or bust. There it is.
All right. So Bradley does take Ankara. At the same time, Austria takes Bulgaria. So not a great year for Turkey, but because Bradley holds on to Norway, Bradley's going to be building 2. That's very good for him, obviously. Germany takes North Sea, and France slips into Irish and also to Western Med. Just maybe for fun, maybe just, I don't know, keeping Italy on their toes. It doesn't appear that Italy is reacting to that at all. The bounce in Tyrol is probably arranged.
The weirdest order is Gascony to Spain, right? I mean, unless you want a convoy to North Africa to make John Jameson happy.
Yeah, maybe convoy to North Africa and then support into Tunis. But Italy will be building, so...
This to me looks like Bradley just has complete control over this board. I remember a game that I saw one time where Bradley gets to 18 in Russia by 1904 just because no one chooses to stop him and he just rolls everything. And I don't think that's going to happen here. But I do think that Bradley is just having his way every which way. And in particular, he's working with Austria and Italy, but he's got them with this fleet buildup in Adriatic and Venice where they're kind of at loggerheads with each other and they can't turn on him for that. So he can afford to leave the center of Russia completely vacant. He's putting Germany into North Sea and dragging Germany out towards England. Like this is very, very good from Bradley. And I think if the rest of the board doesn't see this threat, because they might not, they might think Bradley's helping them. Bradley's already on 8 and you can see that that bar going up and up and up here.
Army Sev, Army Mosque.
Those are coward builds, Bradley. I wanted to see Fleet South Coast.
No,
they're smart. They're smart. They're good builds.
Taking his time. We get Fleet Rome and Army Budapest. Well, Army Smyrna goes off. Maybe not the most defensive of pulls, but keeps the offense alive. Spring 1903, Jamal.
Yeah, Army Smyrna goes off, and then Fleet Smyrna comes immediately back, and they've lost Con for their troubles. So David de Graaf with, I guess, maybe a little bit of too much trust with Bradley, and maybe reading that at the end of the turn and getting a bit hoodwinked. But now Bradley's in Con as well. So Bradley has all of the Turkish centers. They're also moving into Norwegian and Finland, and they can probably convoy to Clyde here. And, you know what? David's probably going to support them into Eddie for good measure. So Bradley continuing his kind of unstoppable death march on the rest of the board. There's more bouncing in Trieste. So Italy and Austria are working together, but Aaron and Dr. Finkelstein don't have the full trust. Yeah, well, maybe there's a misordered attack on Bradley here. Budapest to Romania doesn't go. Serbia supports it, but it doesn't happen. So that's maybe Aaron. I think I wonder if Aaron is a new player. There's been a couple of misorders. I think they're playing a diplomatically and strategically good game, but the tactics, I think, are occasional misorders here. So maybe they're a newer player, which happens, right? It happens to the best of us. But in the West too, Marcus and David are making good progress on Xander. They've convoyed into London. I think Xander may not be long for this world, although he does have a walk into Portugal. So maybe there's a survival for him there, because that's going to be hard to root out once it gets stuck.
Yeah, I really think Marcus was if Italy hadn't been able to build another unit, then they could have forced Tunis and they could have gotten that. But I think with that fleet in Rome, you've got to know it's going to Tyrrhenian Sea, and I think you've just got to know that you can't have Tunis, and leaving MAO open like that is it just it's a real bummer, right? You're part of this pretty successful attack on England, and yet now you've got a raider behind you, and it's going to be hard to deal with, like you said.
Does take Portugal.
Yeah. So they go back from North Africa to Spain. John Jameson was happy only for one turn, because they'll have to deal with Portugal, which is fair enough. So Bradley supporting David into Eddie, which is a rare support offered to an ally from Bradley, which I think that happens once every 5 games. And has decided to, I think they picked up that Aaron might have been trying to stab there, so they've decided to defend Romania rather than take the additional unit in Smyrna, which you can always take later. So that's fine. But now Bradley has all the excuse they need to put Army Warsaw down and come and take all the Austrian centers because now they're fighting. And look, I think as much as I think Aaron and Alexander are getting on the same page now, you see the consequence of all of this kind of bickering that's gone on early in the game, with the fleets having to bounce each other out of Adriatic and Tyrolia and all that kind of thing. And they've just lost so much momentum to Bradley here that even once they are back on the same page, it's really hard to get enough play to make it work because you've had to use up 3 or 4 of your units every single turn in order to properly to kind of deal with this little bit of the lack of trust that was going on. So a higher trust, more Katie Gray style of play would have been better for both of you.
I want to say one thing about David's disband of that army. I think that, I don't know if Bradley had anything to do with that, but it was really lucky for him. I mean, he's got those 2 fleets. He's going to have 1 more fleet at the end of this builds phase, but regardless of which one it is, it's not really going to be able to do too much. I mean, it might be able to interfere with Khan, but it's a lot less dangerous than an army that could walk into Armenia. So, Bradley is seeing some resistance, but I don't think he's in any danger at all. And I think putting Germany into Eddie is very smart because he needs Germany to not decide that Bradley is the next target, and he needs other people to think that Germany could be a target.
Germany will be building 2, so the gap has narrowed a little bit here. Turkey down to 1, as you mentioned. England down to 2, different parts of the world, but there they are. France does lose the 1 from Portugal. Oh, well, you may have put me into Eddie. Still know that you're number 1. There is that Army Warsaw that you mentioned, Jamal.
Yeah, obviously going to go straight after France. Bradley has David wrapped around his finger here.
Let's see. It's not your turn to read the orders. No.
The armies go straight after Bradley. He doesn't have Germany wrapped around his finger. Now, they do that, kind of, but they're not actually really going after Bradley, right? North is going to London. Their army is going up to York, probably to help out with taking Liverpool. And Eddie's going, I just think if you're actually going after Bradley, you're going to Denmark or something. You're not doing whatever this little loop-de-loop is in England. Yeah. I think David is just playing nice with all of his neighbors at the moment, and it's going to help France into, or maybe he's going to make a pitch for France to put him into York. I don't know, but he's really not going after Bradley. Silesia is, maybe even was cleared because, Austria's in Bohemia, and that's really scary. You got to bounce him out of Silesia, right? I mean, I think this is just, I think Jamal was both correct and incorrect. Germany's not going after France, but Bradley may still have him wrapped around his finger.
So you're saying he's not perfect is what you're saying, right? Not
perfect. I'm like maybe 50% perfect. Not a great turn for Austria. Austria loses Bulgaria, and that army is piffed, and also loses Trieste. Bradley loses, which one is that? Khan. And I mean, he can take it back, but then there may be an awkward retreat. Actually, he probably can. I don't know.
You prioritize Austrian centers here as Bradley. You do. Run around and dot you for 1 every turn if they want to. Who cares?
Yeah, and also he'll figure out the tactics, and I feel like it's probably possible to keep all of that because Budapest is in Vienna now, and I think Italy is probably on Bradley's side because Italy is against Austria, so it's probably just fine. Belgium and Holland splitting is, the writing on the wall. They're a team. I'm a little surprised that Marcus didn't force MAO so that they could take back Portugal. But I don't know why the move to Lyon.
It's defensive if you think Italy might come for you.
Yeah, I think Irish should have supported actually, because Liverpool's there next year, and it doesn't matter if you bounce them out of Wales right now. Just, I'm not trying to be super critical, but just you can always get the build in the fall and take MAO now so that you can get Portugal in the fall too.
Yep. Yeah. Italy did a good job of that last year, letting the fleet back into Trieste to set up for this attack. A nice tactical set of orders for Mr. Finkenstein, and we'll see if he can hold out any attack on Venice this turn. He does.
Yeah, and probably by promising that support into Vienna for Germany. So Germany is in Vienna and is up 1. Germany does help France into Liverpool, so France is also up 1. They retreated to Piedmont. I expect we will probably see a fleet in Marseille coming, or something in Marseille, but probably a fleet. And meanwhile, Bradley is making progress. He's retreating from the north, or at least from England, and keeping peace with Germany, but is in Galicia, has taken Serbia, did hold on to Bulgaria, did hold on to Smyrna. The Turkish fleet is in Ankara right now, but it doesn't seem to matter. This is what is this? Another, I guess it's only 2 this time.
Yeah.
2, only 2.
Only 2. Only going to 11. It's
Ugh,
fine.
Boring.
No one needs to worry about Bradley. Okay?
I thought he was supposed to have 18 by 1904. I guess
Oh,
he's got
he's
3 more years to do.
Slowing down a little.
So, I mean, when you're Russia and you see 3 German units on the Isle, I mean, that's great.
Yeah, that's a lot of units not next to you.
No.
That's true.
Italy gets to build 1 out of this. Very nice. Austria pulling 2. As you mentioned, Bradley building 2. See what we get out of there. Oh, Portugal goes, although they are off. No, what are they?
Italy and Germany both wave.
Wales.
Italy and Germany both wave. Bradley is just wow.
Maybe
Well,
it's ending here.
He waved 2, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, it's ending. Okay.
That makes sense. If you're not going to get to 18 by 1907.
You have all the points in the C diplo scoring. You're 3 ahead of everyone else. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah, if you can open north as Russia and you can pull it off like this, can't argue with that. Pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think in round 1 of the tournament too, right? You don't actually need to stab the people that have worked with you. So David and Alexander, you've got all the points anyway. You may as well bank them. Your name is Grace, which is close to Gray, so it means you're pretty good at diplomacy.
It's also, he didn't have to argue for a board top or anything. Like the people who's working with were clearly happy being, not on top, and he didn't have to. Have that one partnership that was really close that then he had to break. I mean, the whole game was, that pink line, I guess for 1 second, France touched him, but wild.
Yeah. There's a pretty masterful game by Bradley. If you want to track back on the tape and watch how to get all of your allies to fight everyone else and not you and just let you march into lots of centers, this is a great model for it.
Yeah, and he did take advantage of, I don't know if they were Austrian misorders in spring 1901, but when you see that weakness and you can exploit it early on. I mean, he did order north, so we don't know if the negotiations helped that out or not. But
maybe maybe in spring of 01, Austria says, hey, this is my first game ever. And Bradley's like, see ya. Like, we don't know. Like,
when Bradley does want to win a tournament, he is open to doing that. Bradley's one of those players that is very, very talented, but will not inherently. He grace by name, maybe not grace by nature. He's open to taking advantage when he sees one, which I think gets him a lot of success. And I think is a great way to play if there's newer players who want to learn. There's a really good path to diplomacy here. But yeah, can lead to something like this where he sees a newer player and says, all right, then I'll take your dots.
Yep.
But he waited, right? I mean, he didn't just immediately say, oh, I'm taking them now. I mean, he was like, oh, that gives me space to go do something else and something somewhere else, which I just think is like good general game awareness, right? Like of the overall strategy.
Yep. Excellent. All right. I have not used the fancy transition yet to our next game, but let us get to the next game, round 1, board 4. All right, we are now on to round 1, board 4. Katie will move you up to the odds for this game. In round 1, board 4, we've got Jacobo Gonzalez in Austria. That's a new name we haven't seen. William Lovbukin in England. Liam Horn in France. Michalis Kamaridis in Germany. Micah Blum in Italy, David Alberti in Russia, and Christian, I'm not going to butcher it, Hivstendal.
So I just want to point out, I have it on good authority that David Alberti won the most important award at this tournament, which was the Best Shane Cubis Award. So I will be referring to David as Euro Shane for the rest of this broadcast.
What does that mean for people watching who don't know, and also for me?
Oh, so the best Jane Cubist is an award that's handed out mostly in Australia, but it was at DipCon this year. I don't know if you remember, Katie. But it goes to the person who is the best Jane Cubist at the tournament, and that was David.
Okay, great. I'm glad to have that cleared up, and we can move on now.
We will move on, and we will move to spring 1901.
All right, 1901 openings are extremely standard. I think the only thing that really catches my eye is that Trieste holds. So Austria won't be able to guarantee Greece. Otherwise, things are fairly standard. There's a bounce in the Black Sea with Smyrna falling to Khan. That was really popular when I started playing. It was the only way I knew how to open as Turkey, and I feel like in recent years it's a lot less common. People tend to leave Khan open for Ankara to move there to get the fleet out. But we will see what Christian does with it. Maybe he can grab 2 builds and still get the fleet out. That would be super cool. And then France is moving to Burgundy and Gascony. I don't know. I don't have a lot to say about that. I think they're probably still going to pick up 2, and they can have some influence on Belgium. And then Venice moves up to Tyrolia. So Micah wants to be involved in something going on in the Central Powers.
Couple interesting pieces. Second time we've seen Trieste hold on the broadcast here today. This time we do have a follow-up Vienna to Budapest. I think it was a hold last time. Jamal, how many times did you see Paris to Burgundy unsupported? Not too often.
No, normally you'd move in with Marseille so that if you get bounced back, you can still be in Marseille and play on Spain. But I guess they felt confident in what Michalis was doing. Michalis is the kind of player that will probably tell you what he's doing around Burgundy, and you can, you can trust that he's going to do it. Whether or not it's good for you or not is another question. But yeah, so I think he probably just felt confident, and it's a good way to build trust. You say what you're going to do on something and then just follow through in spring 01.
I've got to say 2 things real quick. One, I missed that Warsaw made it to Galicia. That is interesting. I wonder if that was a broken DMZ or maybe they didn't talk about it. That's really interesting. I also will say I do have it on good authority, which is Michalis himself in the briefing, that he was not here for the first year of this game. I think he was late. I don't remember when he showed up, but I know he was late to this game.
So he's potentially playing hybrid virtual with sending his moves in early, and
he could be texting somebody from the bus station.
Yeah.
Go to Ruhr.
Right.
I should have said that better for Robert, but I can't pronounce it. Sorry.
Well, I was going to make a point that Micah moving up to Tyrolia maybe was anti-Michalis, but apparently it was just anti.
Well, maybe she knew he was supposed to be there and she was ready to be anti-Michalis. I think we're all ready to be anti-Michalis.
Tyrolia will hold until told otherwise. Nope, they will go into Vienna.
Oh, that's so fun. Okay, I have not seen this opening, at least on DBN or in recent times. This is, it's almost really good for Micah. I think if she had taken Tunis with the fleet, it would have been really cool. It would have been really easy to take back Venice if she had left her army in Apulia or maybe in bed in Rome. As it is, she will build 1 from Vienna and Tunis and losing Venice. But Russian support into Vienna is, that's pretty fun. So, yeah. Austria also having not moved to Albania was not able to guarantee Greece. So Turkey bounces Austria out of Greece and takes Bulgaria and also takes the Black Sea. So we will see if there is going to be conflict between Russia and Turkey. If I'm Turkey, I'm probably expecting it because there's already wintergreen cooperation, but maybe you're trying to negotiate from a position of strength. In the West, we've got England convoying to Belgium, and I have to give a shout out to Siobhan and question if that's where that army will go to die. Meanwhile, France takes the typical Portugal and Spain, but also follows into Burgundy. So, Burgundy to Ruhr or however, sorry. But I'm pretty sure that open to Burgundy was not expected because Germany covered Munich, or maybe they covered it from Tyrolia and France just played it well. But I like the move to Ruhr personally. I don't love taking Munich first off because you can get it. It can be taken away immediately, but Ruhr gives you some options. So we will see what France does with that.
I have to say, I'm not sure this English army is going to go to die because it is not surrounded like it normally is. And if France is barging straight into Ruhr, they probably have a French friend in that part of the world. But I also, the other shout out here, I do love the just all-out aggression from Euroshane straight away. Helping Italy into Vienna, going into Romania. Let's put the armies on the board and let's just go.
Maybe we'll see how Russia does, and we'll learn what the Shane Award is.
All right, so +1 for Italy, even though they have made it to Vienna. The biggest +2 for everyone in the West, I think, is the highlight here. No bounce in Sweden. Denmark held, and we will see Fleet. So no bounce in Sweden, but we do get Fleet Berlin. So is this an early Western triple as Jamal is pumping his fists in the air? 2 fleets for England.
Army Ruhr, no army build from England. It doesn't look like a Western triple, and I am wondering why England didn't build an army here, given that they're probably going to attack Russia or Germany. So unless there's a weird French move on the cards here, this is, I think you'd want another army as England. People play England with too many fleets.
I agree.
Well, we'll see where we get to. Jamal, tell us about 1902.
Well, what we didn't call out was Fleet Trieste, which goes straight to the Adriatic. So Jacobo has decided that you know what, I'm probably fighting a losing battle against Euroshane. The power of Euroshane is too strong, so I'm just going to run away from that, and I'm going to cede. I don't quite know if it was a ceding of Budapest, but it was a loss of Budapest pretty quickly. And let's just go straight after Micah, because I don't know what Micah's done to Jacobo here, but something in order to essentially invoke his wrath. However, the RT looks like it's also on. So Christians come out to the Aegean, rotating the armies through. They're not the Juggernaut's not too worried about the fleet in the Black Sea at this point. So that's good cooperation from that side. And Euroshane has also taken Norway to maybe counterbalance a little bit, which again, good play by Michalis here to convince Russia to work with him and prop him up against the impending EF. The impending EF, which is just kind of holding on for a second. So Liam's making some kind of neutralish moves back to Spain, Mid-Atlantic Ocean. Maybe they decided they didn't want to be in Ruhr after all, and then didn't want to be in this all-out attack on Germany in the end. So we'll see how this plays. It looks like Michalis, having now arrived at the venue, I'm sure, is actually getting to work and mending some of the bridges that might have been burnt by him not being present at the start of the game.
I will say, I think this turn, if you look at the English and German moves, kind of highlights an argument for an army, because England could have taken Holland with convoying an army rather than leaving North Sea. And I think that would have put him in a stronger position. I also want to say I really love this for Turkey. If I were Turkey, I would be a little bit worried about the early IR cooperation, but this is a really great position. You're going to get a 5th build. Probably Mike is going to use Ionian to take back Venice, and you have some time. You have your fleets out, and it doesn't look like you have an enemy in Russia. So I'm excited for Turkey on this map too.
Like what I see here, fall 1902.
And wow, the end is very, very quick for Jacobo, and unfortunately losing Trieste, Serbia, Venice all in one go.
Oh wow!
And it looks like they were making moves to try and prevent stuff too. So that's not a walking away from the game. That's just an unfortunate swallowing whole of Austria in 1902. So thank you for playing, Jacobo. I really hope you have a great game next time. Liam has decided that the way they're going to go is south against Micah, because now that Micah's dealt with one enemy, she's got another one. So maybe people are weary of the skill of Micah Blom here. They know her in the Netherlands, and so they're watching out for her straight away. So now she's going to have to deal with stuff around Tunis and doesn't quite have the fleets for it. Williams managed to hold on to Holland, which is good for them. And again, Michalis and Euroshane looks like I don't know if it's an agreed bounce in Sweden or something going on, but Euroshane's kept Sweden and Norway, which is great. So probably advantage England and Russia here. Looks like they've patched things up. So we'll see how that goes. Michalis is still fighting an uphill battle. So the known players having a hard time of it on this board.
Norwegian to North Atlantic. Are you where you got armies coming your way? Am I protecting? I mean, this doesn't seem to make EF feel good with that one, Katie.
Well, England and Russia are working together. They're protecting Sweden. So it could have been a request from David. It could also be that England wasn't expecting France to move to MAO and Spain and thought that they were going to drop into, I guess, Spain and Leon or something. Maybe they just are covering their bases.
Yeah, and the other way is Euroshane tricked Skagerrak into going there to keep Sweden for their own. So that seems to be a Eurochain thing to do.
Oh yeah, if that is unwanted support, that is very, very Shane Cubasy, and I can see why David is European Shane Cubasy.
There was no unwanted support. They definitely planned that. I don't know who Shane is, but Shane wanted that support.
I do know now. But the Juggernaut building 2 each in 1902, that is fantastic. But it makes sense given Austria's fall from 4 to 0. Italy also building 2, and maybe Michalis, reincarnated Michalis is pulling 1 here. We will see Ruhr go, 2 armies for Russia, 2 armies for Turkey. 1 could only build 1 for Micah, so another army on the board. Lots of armies down.
So many armies.
Don't think I've ever seen an Italy with 4 armies in 1 fleet, but we are here.
Yeah.
I mean,
Maybe what's Micah going to do with all this?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's an IT. Micah, there's an IT and there's maybe an RT. Unclear. Look, Vienna and Budapest look relatively well. I don't know why Trieste would go to Budapest, so I don't know that that's agreed. I'm surprised Micah didn't build a fleet, given that there are French fleets at her door. But maybe if she's just expecting that Turkish fleet to work with her, then maybe she thinks she doesn't need it. France does take Tunis. However, it is the spring and likely will not keep it because there's now a Turkish fleet in Ionian, and Micah's in Tyrrhenian Sea, and Western fleet has retreated to Spain. So France cannot protect Tunis, and I think we'll lose that. Or rather, we'll never gain it, really, because it's the spring. Meanwhile, Germany, whether or not that is Michalis at this point, is taking back Sweden, and presumably now has a friend in England, because England took Norway from Russia, at the same time as Russia is moving all of their units towards Germany, and Germany supported themselves into Ruhr. Probably not great. I believe we'll lose Berlin, probably. But who knows? Could lose Berlin, but maybe he won't. Maybe he's gonna do some whispering. Maybe that Italian fleet into Budapest is gonna shake up David's position a little bit.
It's a very janky 3-way alliance in the east here, right? So I was worried for the Juggernaut when all the armies came down. I thought, oh god, they're gonna fight each other now, and it's gloves off. But they've managed to work it out, and Black Sea's pulled back. But there's so many armies that are Russia is now funneling through the line. But I mean, they need Russia to keep units on the board, especially with the loss of Scandinavia. If this is really, an RTI, so yeah, I mean, it's looking very cooperative, and it's looking like they can do it, but it's structurally very weird. So I'm hoping that Micah is the kind of player that can pull this off, though, that can get 2 other players to work together in ways that you might not expect. So this could be big for them.
Yeah, we will see if Eurochain is pulling a 3 at the moment. If that holds, it does.
Well, yeah. So David does lose Sweden and Norway. Also loses Romania. Also loses Budapest, but gains Vienna. And Turkey is back in the Black Sea. So there's definitely an IT going on right now. It's a very strange one. There are no fleets, so I don't know where they're going to go next. I assume they'll take Sev and then Vienna and refigure it out. Micah took back Tunis, as I think we expected. And let's see, I don't think Micah is building. Turkey will build again from Romania. So yeah, this is a really good game for Turkey. I hope that they just put down a fleet and just go. It's probably too early, and I don't know that I would do it if I were Turkey, but I think that they have an opportunity. Michalis does lose Berlin, but gains Sweden, and France takes Belgium back from England. Meanwhile, England is forcing their way closer towards Russia, so that's probably not going to be great for England because they are, staying even, and nothing can block France from going into Irish Sea or NAO. Oh, no, they're building. I missed why they're building.
Norway. Picked up Norway.
But lost Belgium.
Right? And Pift. So a rebuild.
Oh, Pift. Yeah, okay. So maybe they're going to rebuild an army for some defense.
Yep.
This is wild in the West. There's been no alliance structure for even half a season. So yeah, this is a real European style game here. And I wonder if Michalis has missed a trick here by potentially not offering Russia support back into Norway. If you're going to attack England anyway, you may as well make a trade-off and maybe get yourself for Russia not to take Berlin or something by offering them Norway.
Maybe the tap on North Sea was supposed to help Russia take back Norway.
Yeah, but Sweden would have.
Sweden didn't. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
All right. So we get to the winter here. It wasn't a -3. It was only -2 for David. Christian building one as mentioned. Micah building one from
Budapest.
Oh, I had a wave. Could only build one last time, so had one in pocket, and the rest of the West building one each. We've got Fleet Brest, Fleet Liverpool, Fleet Rome, Army Con. You did not get your fleet to just go. Maybe in a 1907 game, try and clean up the middle of the board, get what you can. I don't know how far those fleets will go, but we will see what they're going to do. David pulls Berlin and Vienna. Jamal, spring 1904.
Yeah, and so the armies are rolling, and this is actually a very viable way to run an IT, and I really like running ITs this way, where, particularly if you can make peace with France, which it looks like Micah has done, there's no reason for anyone to have any fleets. Like, what is the point of fleets? They can only fight each other, and there are so many centers for you all to get with armies. So just roll the armies, and that's what's happening here. They're pushing up to Galicia, Romania. There's a lot of progress. Vienna's going to get taken. England is pulling back to fight the impending French attack, which they see coming because of the telegraphed Fleet Brest, which makes a lot of sense. And Michalis is just sitting pretty for a second. So, letting England walk out of Holland and then taking it from behind, not really trying to contest Berlin. I think Michalis is maybe just trying to let the dust settle and let other people engage before he tries to put the foot on the gas again.
Yeah, I wonder if we just don't have all the orders, but I feel Micah should have bounced herself in Tyrrhenian Sea.
She might have.
Yeah, that might have been if it was a self bounce. Maybe they just didn't.
Yeah,
just didn't add them.
Right, because it didn't matter.
To the fall.
All right, so peace has fully descended on the Mediterranean now. There's really nothing going on with the fleets there, which is amazing to see. And as a result, Micah gets one in Vienna and Christian gets one in Sevastopol. So progress is made. Euroshane sneaks Munich, but Michalis sneaks Berlin back. So some fun dipsy-doodle there. The support into Norway is now offered and taken. So Euroshane is going to make up for the loss of Sevastopol. Looks like William's making a little bit of progress, getting into the English Channel, but getting bounced out of the North Sea. The West is chaotic, as has been true all game. Really, it's hard to see anyone other than the IT winning out of this chaotic West. And there's actually, again, as we've been seeing all tournament, right? One strong alliance on the board, and that alliance makes progress, and they end up winning.
Yeah.
Yes.
But there's not a lot of centers left for those armies to get. I mean, maybe Warsaw, maybe Moscow, and then that IT with all those armies that you like so much is done. I mean, they
can make Munich and Berlin maybe, and
maybe
3 years left to go. Let's see what they get out of it. We do get another army from Turkey and another army. This is the craziest IT ever with both of them building armies. Michalis builds the army as well, and 2 English fleets come off the board. Let's see what that gets them in spring 1905, Katie.
Well, it gets Michalis, Norway, and Munich. And Irish moves to MAO, which is very fun. I think, England's got a free walk into Portugal. Saw that on a previous game. So there's one more dot for William. But France is an NAO and an Irish, so we'll be taking Liverpool. So it's not looking great for England, but it's kind of fun to just sort of fight back a little bit as you're going down. It doesn't seem like Michalis really has any enemies. He's got a target now, which is Norway, but nobody's attacking him. Meanwhile, the IT has broken down. The armies are going towards each other. Micah retakes Ionian. I love convoys across the Black Sea. Those are very fun. This one wasn't super exciting. No offense, Christian, but still fun. And I think there's an IT fight, but I mean, it's going to be kind of a lock, I'm pretty sure. I don't know. It's just a lot of armies. It's just a lot of units next to each other, and I don't know if anyone really has an advantage.
So maybe McCallus has the advantage, Jamal.
Yep, and I would not be surprised here. I mean, this is a very McCallus style game. So where you saw a Bradley style game before, but this is a McCallus style game where he can make good, clean moves and dot you here and here, because at the end of the day, you're more pissed off at the other person you're engaged in a fight with. So he's gotten England and France to fight. He's gotten Micah and Christian to fight. So, I think, he can just sit there a little bit and let all the fights happen. And then suddenly he's justified in taking Norway and Munich and probably Belgium and a few other things as well.
Not Belgium this turn. He did cover.
So he does cover Holland and moves to Silesia. So Berlin is open for an army build. He holds on to Norway. France does take Liverpool. England, however, takes Belgium from France and takes Portugal. So I actually think England is up 1. So good for William, hanging in there, putting up a nice defense. Nothing is really happening in the East. I mean, units are moving towards each other, but there's a lot of support holds and a lot of nothing. And Russia is saying, I don't care what you guys do. Just leave me alone. And is taking back Galicia and just sneaks into Venice because why not? It's there, and Russia is losing 2 centers, so why not pick up another one?
I reckon Venice is demanded by Euroshane in order to help Micah. So, I don't know why you wouldn't cover Venice here, and Micah's too good for that. So that, to me, looks like a deal where Micah cedes Venice, keeps Russia on some centers, and then gets their help against Turkey.
Yep.
Could be.
2 years left. Maybe that's the deal to try to get Italy over the line, although getting over the line means now you have to pass 2 players, as Germany is building 2. Katie, as you mentioned, William building 1, France pulling 1 in that exchange. And Turkey rebuilding? Yes, because there was a pit, so rebuilding the 1. Euroshane pulls Fleet North Coast, makes sense. Fleet Enk, Fleet Aegean. What did? For Venice. So we do lose there, so that hurts those lines. And McCallus, Fleet Kiel Army Berlin to spring 1906. Jamal.
Yeah, well, McCallus is now again doing what he's doing, right? He's helping France into Belgium, so now he's switching sides again. He's pulling into Bothnia to make play on St. Petersburg. I think Euroshane's realized maybe the deal with the devil he's cut a little bit here, and he's pulling back to Warsaw and St. Pete, but losing Venice. Micah's convoying back. It looks like maybe there's cooperation again. The IT might have called it off, which is the right move, right? That part of the reason you build all armies as an IT is because you actually can't get anything off each other if you have all armies. Like, there's just too much attrition, so you're just better off always working together. So they've lost momentum by not pushing up and taking Warsaw and Moscow when they could, and it might cost them the top by engaging in the fight. But they both realized pretty soon that the fight's pointless, that you can't do anything against each other. Even if you're in the Aegean as Italy, there's too many armies on the board, you're not going anywhere. And in the interim, Liam is making some progress, going to Clyde, going into Belgium. So, yeah, maybe advantage Liam in the EF fight.
Pulling Picardy to Belgium is fantastic, as now Belgium cannot be defended by France. So another pickup for McCallus is what we don't see. Interesting.
Now, I mean, why pick up one? You take 2, right? Yes. As I think you're about to say, Kay, yeah. So he takes St. Petersburg and Warsaw because, of course, he does. Why would you not? If he's been taking Russian dots for the past 3 years and convinced Euroshane that that's totally fine. So other than that, there's not a lot going on. Christian gets back into the Ionian Sea. Micah takes Venice back. And yeah, they really have stalled in momentum. So I'm not sure what broke down for them diplomatically, but the trust disappeared pretty quickly. And it was, it was not a great use of all those armies, which are now just sitting there and not really doing very much. I also reckon there's been a lot of moves in the West that have not resulted in much, so the units have all held, which is probably a sandboxing thing. But at the end of the day, McCallus is winning and everyone else is breaking even.
So Venice supported Naples to Rome. If Apulia then walks into Naples, so an Ionian held? Interesting.
Yeah, that'd be a good time for a self-bounce. Maybe. I mean, I guess there's a chance that Apulia supports Venice to Rome, but...
But if Ionian holds, Ionian could tap Apulia then. Because then they can't. Apulia could never walk out.
Yep, exactly. That would. Kevin, you're not bad at this game.
Kind of fly under the radar. All right, we get to winter 1906. McCallus is again building 2 France from taking Belgium builds one. It's a retrade from last time. And Euro Shane is down bad. And that is it. McCallus takes the board top with a strong finish.
I mean, what I've learned from this game is that McCallus not being there for 1901 is an appropriate handicap, and probably you need to let him not be there until 1902. It's
maybe three. I don't know when he got here.
Yeah, an amazing recovery here by McCallus. So this is why he's one of the best.
Jamal, I will say maybe in this particular game it was kind of an advantage because there was so much chaos that people were stabbing each other. So maybe a new person comes in and is like, hey, I haven't screwed you over. You guys were attacking me. I didn't do anything wrong. Yeah,
very well could have been. But yeah, well done. And I think a bit of a missed opportunity for the Kraken, Micah and Christian, if they'd kept rolling together, had a big score on the table. But well done, McCallus.
Yeah, we will see. You guys both mentioned that maybe they run out of centers to grab. Would that have stopped McCallus from getting his magic done in the middle? Probably, but we will never know. But here is how we finish up round one. Bradley with that fantastic board only gets 2 more points than the other board toppers here, lone board toppers here, and then we had the shared top in round one. Board one, so that is how round one ends.
With 3 web dippers in the top. Sorry, 2 web dippers in the top 3. Yep. So the person who, again, is no longer on web dip.
But it's okay. They're being chased down by our greatest new superhero, DeGrief. So yeah, he's coming to give him DeGrief.
No.
He's not new. He was in DBNI number 1. So.
No, he just wanted to make his horrible pun again, Kevin. Don't encourage him.
I'm trying to smooth it over so those will end.
You have to stop us fighting for each other over his puns.
Exactly. Round 2, board 1. We've got Isaac Jukes in Austria, Yoni Zulinga in England, Euro Shane back again, David Alberti in France, Alexander von Finkenstein, who was also at the 2010 WDC. So I did see that name during the research. I love that. Klaas de Graaf, not de Grief, in Italy. Xander Lenstra in Russia, and Isa Bloom, who had a rough start in round 1 into the map. Switch around and onward. Jamal, Spring 1901.
So your favorite is Sunstrom is happening from ISA down in Turkey here, going straight for Armenia. Some pretty standard Austrian moves that would be very normal, except for the fact that Klaus has decided to walk into Trieste and back it up with Venice. So taking a bit of trust that Isaac has shown and running all the way to the bank with it. Dr. Finkenstein has moved to Holland, which I really like, and I think it's an underutilized German opening. And so, making some interesting play there. And everything else is fairly normal, I think, in the West.
I think moving to Holland is very fun and maybe underutilized. I don't know that I think it's good. So I don't know if it should be more utilized, but I love to see it in these games. And that army following up to Venice sends such a message. Isaac, you are not welcome in my country. Go back to England. That's what Claes has to say to him.
I mean, Holland is not quite as good as Helgoland, but it's getting there. It's close.
Oh,
master diplomatic play if it can be pulled off correctly. I think it's more of a diplomatic tactical move. Let's see if it works out for Dr. Finkenstein. And I was going to say not too many. I don't think we had a single error. Maybe one in the first round. So not one starting it off here. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't think this is an error.
Wow.
18.
Yeah. Sorry, is it on me?
Yeah.
Sorry. So yes, Klaus is taking Tunis, getting into Tyrolia, getting ready for a full-blown attack on Austria. So Isaac has his work cut out for him, but he has got a friend in Isa helping her into Romania. Although I guess to Con, because that's also not anti-Russian. So maybe Isa playing both sides a little bit here. And what else do we have? Oh, Euro Shane. I love it. Straight to the Irish Sea. This is, I think he heard the call of the Western Triple and said, nope, I'm going to the Irish Sea instead. So yeah, a lovely little, very hyper-aggressive play here, but unfortunately is rewarded by Yoni being supported into Belgium with the fleet, which again, also underutilized, and I also really like. I I think the fleet in Belgium is actually a place that does not go there to die, and is a great way to get an EG going in this scenario.
I disagree in almost every way. I hate the fleet in Belgium, but it is a build, and it does allow Yoni to build an additional unit for defense. And I don't think that she has to worry about David basically at all, because that one lone fleet in Irish is probably not going to be super effective. So maybe some drawback to early aggression. I'm guessing Isa did not go to Black Sea because she was hoping that Sev would go to Black and that she could walk into Sev. I'm hoping that's why, because knowing Russia's moves, it seems like, oh, he should have gone to Black, but I'm thinking that's probably her reasoning. This Italian attack on Austria is, full blown. Let's see if it works out for Italy, because sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't.
Lots of interesting plays in the East strategy 3D chess type items, so we'll see. Fleet in North and fleet in Channel, then put the fleet into Belgium, and then it's not as bad, but leaving North Sea vacant how we are, but building 2 is always good. France only building 1, Germany building 2, Italy building 2 with Trieste and Tunis. Munich holding here. Nothing around it. Any strategy on why a hold versus where they might have gone given a certain alliance, Katie?
Yeah, it's a little odd. You'd think if you're going to work with England, just go for it and go to Ruhr or make an attempt at Burgundy or something. But I don't know. Maybe a lot of times England and Germany and France are all talking about who's going to get Belgium, blah, 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 blah. There's all kinds of agreements. And so maybe Germany said, yeah, I'm going to support England in, but we can always take it back later. So maybe Alexander doesn't want to also anger France. Maybe this wasn't necessarily a shock to David. I don't know.
Yep. Possible strategy. Let's see what the builds are. We're getting 2 armies in Germany then. So interesting, if not going after France then, to try to get the head start. We've got Fleet Brest, 2 anti-French fleets from England. Army Moscow, there's that fleet Ankara, so the follow-on will be there. Bulgaria left open, which has not happened all that much. And 2 Italian fleets. Interesting.
Why? Why would you not put an army in Venice? That's so wild. Yeah, so... Wow.
Could be a very well disguised IA.
Yeah.
It could be, but then you got to wonder why you didn't just take Trieste and go to a GN like normal people, because there was a bounce in Black Sea.
We want to be different.
Yeah, maybe.
Tell us, Eric, then Katie, it's you for 1902.
Yeah, so regardless of what it started out as, the IA is cooperating to some extent, right? Austria is fighting Russia, as is Italy. So I think Xander doesn't have any friends in the south, which is not great news, especially because they moved their army from Moscow up to St. Pete. And I think St. Pete is guaranteed, and maybe even Ukraine. So not great for Russia in the south. Sweden to Skagerrak is really interesting. I don't know why you do that. Maybe at the request of England, and then they tricked you or something, but then why would you move your army north? So I'm not really sure what their goal with that was. I don't know.
I wonder if there's an actual sneak attack on Denmark about to happen here, because I do feel a little bit like my spidey senses would be up if I'm Dr. Finkenstein here, because Norway to Sweden is just very sneakily potentially able to walk out of Sweden into Denmark with support from the North Sea. And Liverpool's held and not gone to Irish, so that there's maybe a détente happening with Yoni and Euroshane.
That's true, and at this point, they don't even need North Sea. If Skagerrak's going to support it, I mean, there's nothing in Kiel, so maybe it's working out. Yeah, if that's the plan, it's probably working out even better than they'd planned. I still wonder about Moscow moving up to St. Pete. That's really strange, especially when Russia has so many enemies in the south. Francis, sorry.
That was maybe Norway is the gift. Maybe that's the trade.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. But then, maybe. All right, France is taking Spain, and I think we'll probably just stay there and keep it. Although if I'm France, I'm probably covering MAO next turn. They do get into the Channel and are moving away from England. And Germany is moving towards France. So, it seems like sort of everything I thought about the alliances last year are gone, basically. I mean, you still got Italy and Turkey working together, or excuse me, Austria and Turkey working together, but otherwise there's been a lot of flips.
let's keep going with fall 1902. Well, it was there to support Skagerrak to Norway. Just a trade.
Yeah, kind of a strange trade. You really wonder why they didn't take Denmark. Maybe Russia doesn't want to make enemies with Germany at this point, which totally fair if that's the case. So England does pick up Sweden and loses Norway, so stays even. Germany moves into Burgundy and doesn't lose anything. France doesn't lose any centers and gains Spain, but loses both Burgundy and MAO. So this is actually, I think, a pretty brutal turn for David. He's got the army in Spain, so he's not totally lost, but there's also an Italian army in Piedmont and an Italian fleet in Gulf of Leon. So this is really, really not looking good for France. In the east, we've got Isa taking Sev and Bulgaria, so +2 for Turkey. This is a great turn for Isa. That's really fun to see. Maybe she's less excited about Italy moving away from Austria, but she's getting 2 builds, and she's got a really good position. It's an army in Sev, so it isn't a fleet in Bulgaria on the inside, on the east coast, which is a little odd, but it's playing nice with Isaac, and she was helping Isaac into Ukraine this turn, so that kind of tracks.
I have no notes. That was just perfect.
Excellent.
Me or the turn?
Jamal,
oh no, you changed your name. Okay.
Winter 1902, as you mentioned, France does pick up Spain and gets to build one. We will see. And Isa gets the 2. Those are army. We get Fleet Svirna. Interesting. So AT staying together. Army Marseille, good for defense. Let's see how Euroshane handles the diplomacy here, Jamal.
Well, Euroshane makes, I guess a bit of it was all a guess really, but sorry, loses Marseille as is projected. But has managed to get the German to hold off at least for a second, which is nice. And so they're pulling back. They're in Gascony. They're trying to defend, but it's not looking great for Euroshane. They're well out of position. Other than that, it looks like Yoni is pushing into Skagerrak and is going to say, thank you very much. One of my allies, I'm going to attack one of you. I'm not going to tell you which one, because I'm sure that they've told Xander that they're attacking Denmark, and I'm sure they've told Alexander that they're attacking Norway. And Xander, in the meantime, is losing ground to the very fast-moving AT that's happening now. So, the army's back over to Sev. The fleet's rotating back around. Isaac, whilst looking on the ropes at the start, has really pulled a rabbit out of his hat here to get back into a defensible position. So this is really great from him. I'm hoping this 3-way alliance in the south can stick together and just kind of all make lovely bounces in the Aegean, but you might see some fireworks happening in the south and the east here.
At first I was laughing and I was like, I don't think Sweden got cut. Why is that support there? I'm like, it's an army. So
yeah.
That does not work. Fall 1903.
And you know what? Actually, I decided not to attack my allies, says Yoni. And to be fair, this is very similar to Yoni's play in the other game, where she really didn't stab very much. And I back it. I think it's a great strategy. So instead of that, she's gone back into the English Channel, deciding maybe to take some of the French centers before Klaus gets them all, because Klaus is getting Spain. And it looks like, Yoni and Dr. Finkenstein have decided to work together here to halt the impending Italian. So we'll pick up Spain, bounced out of Marseille. So the Euroshane might have some friends, and the late breaking Western Triple could be on here. Other than that, Isaac is picking up Trieste, which looks agreed. And look, everyone is bouncing energy and everyone is friendly. This is great. I love it.
It's too friendly.
Well, there's only 1903. There is still time for some fisticuffs to happen. Austria does pick up 1 for grabbing Trieste back. And France, what was it? Piff, I'm assuming?
Yeah,
yes.
The Piff Marseille. Yeah.
There we go. 2 piffs. Where was the one? Was it?
The one Marseille the time before. Yeah.
All right, there we go. All right. So rebuilding, losing 1 and also rebuilding. So Fleet Marseille. Interesting. All right. And Army Vienna. Spring 1904, Katie.
All right. We've got France retaking MAO and Italy retreating into Portugal. Can't lose that. So good place to retreat to. You're going to pick up that build for this year. And meanwhile, this everyone avoiding Venice like the plague is kind of funny to me. Germany and Italy clearly aren't working together, and Germany doesn't go for Venice. I mean, clearly, probably attempting and successfully doing so, cutting support of Piedmont. But how funny would it be if they were just in Venice and then Rome? In the north, we've got England taking Norway. We've seen this before, so not really sure exactly how that's going to play out. But Germany kind of, it looks like the Western Triple is sort of working together, but it's the Western Triple against Italy, I guess.
Yeah.
And then it's the Western Triple versus the Southern Triple, and then Russia is trying to survive, I think.
I really want to see a long convoy from Norway here.
John Jameson would be happy, but does not.
And
locked down in Norway too.
Back to Sweden while Russia sneaks into Denmark.
Oof.
That can't be good for Germany. I'm sure they were not expecting that. But England's moving out of Belgium. I really wonder how much of this is negotiated, how much of this is people are just predicting things and doing stuff. Because England's not moving on Germany with Russia. Maybe Russia's just trying to survive. Maybe England thought that they were going to bounce in Sweden and keep both. Italy does.
I don't know why you don't follow up Norwegian to Norway if you're trying to block a bounce.
True. I don't know. Italy and Austria are remaining friendly, as are Austria and Turkey. So the Southern Alliance is still on. Italy's picking up Portugal. So Italy's up 1. I think that's it.
Yep. Russia builds 1 from Denmark. F and G both falling 1 here. Italy gains that, builds fleet Rome, Brest, and 2 fleets fall off there, and army in St. Petersburg. Fleet North Coast would have been fun. Not the right build, but would have been fun.
Fleet South Coast might have been the right build here.
Yeah, but are you really against Germany here, or are you just pilfering?
Hey, you're against England and Sweden. You got culpable deniability.
I mean, Germany's got nothing defending those centers.
Yeah. Pilfering it is, although Denmark walks away.
Yeah, going back to Skagerrak now because, we're all just center trading here, and this is totally fine. But now it looks like the three-way alliance in the south has broken, and Isaac Dukes and Isa Blom are on the same side. So, the AT that was cooperating all game realized they weren't getting anywhere in Russia, so we've just got to go somewhere else next. So now we're going to Venice, and we're going to Ionian, and Klaus de Graaf is looking in trouble once again. Euroshane has taken back Spain, and I think probably ceded Marseille to Germany at this point because he really is just a janissary. But it's good that Euroshane is honoring his Australian roots and participating in a Western Triple. This is really good of him to do that, and hopefully he'll be rewarded with not the loss of Brest or any of the things that Yoni could take. So you put Yoni into Portugal here and you keep it going.
Western Triples are okay if they're in 1905 and France is on 3 centers. It's one of the few times where it's okay.
But this is the chance. I mean, right? This is where Yoni makes the big push for the win, walks into Holland, walks into Brest at this point. Like, do you go for the win? 2 years left after this?
Again, it depends on your motivations, right? If you're trying to compete for the tournament win, but I mean, I haven't seen Yoni's name before. This might be her first tournament. This might be, something they're doing just for the pure joy of it. And sometimes it's a lot more fun to form some great alliances and have some friends, or to take all the centers, or to just take every single center. And it's also fun. Well done, Yoni.
I love it. Oh, that's so fun.
I call that the DBN setup.
Yeah.
Also, Sweden just holding and not being what Skag goes after is that's great. That's great. Did we get out of order? No.
So Yoni takes Brest, takes Holland. Sorry, Katie, you were gonna say.
No. I thought we were out of order because I thought this was the spring, but I'm really lost. You're good. You're good.
That's okay. But Yoni's going up 3, which is amazing. Well done, Yoni. That is a humongous stab for all the marbles. Isa wins the tournament's first Jade Buddha Peace Prize by just sitting, just holding, because there's no reason to do anything. You're not going to stab Isaac. You're not going to get anything out of Italy. So why bother? Well, just let people move around you and let people pull units off the board because Klaus is going to have to pull 2. So Euroshane's down, Klaus is down, and the big winner here is obviously England with a couple of years to go. This is huge for them.
Yeah, big +3. Paris, only thing remaining for David. Austria does pick up 1 from Venice, so pulling even with their ally there. Army, 2 fleets and an army for England. Gascony goes, Western Med stays. That's fun to keep, and that is it. That is it. That is how you go for the win. Nice play, Yoni.
Yeah, that was cool. You know what I like too? The last game we saw from Yoni, she was at the sort of receiving end of generosity in an alliance where her ally sort of allowed her to tie with him. And this one, there wasn't a clear ally all game. She was working with Germany a lot, but there was a lot of weird stuff going on. And she was just like, you know what? This is my game. I'm taking my dots. And I really like that. I like that you see the 2 sort of different styles of play from the same player in one weekend and probably one day. I mean, I don't know when these are played, but in one tournament. So good for her. That was a really good example of just like seizing the moment when it's time. So that was really fun.
Jamal, not perfect. That is appropriate after that denial of Yoni's excellent decision.
Yeah, I think it was a very good decision from her, and really glad she went for it, because I think often you see alliance players not knowing when the right time is to actually just go for it, and so it's a lot of really good diplomacy skills shown right there.
Yeah,
it's really hard to know. It's really hard to know.
Yeah, well, here for both of you, Jamal first. So 1906, we've got 2 years left to play. 59 is a good score, but not as high as a couple of them from round 1. Any chance playing one more year? There's really no threat, maybe.
Oh yeah, I mean, if I'm Yoni here, I'm absolutely playing on, because Paris has come off the board, and you've got play on Norway and Denmark, and I think maybe I'm not knowing this player. You might get nervous after a big step like this, and you might go, you know what, I did it, and that's enough, and I don't need to keep pushing. But from a pure board perspective, there's certainly more centers on the board for her here if she wants them. But I do understand if this is one of your first times pulling off a big stab like this, you get away with it, and you take the money you've stolen and you run. You don't try and take any more.
Katie, when do you take that? So you make the big stab, like Jamal just said. We've all been there, being new. Someone on a broadcast one time said, these are the chances you take. Do it. Run with it. If it comes back to fire, but it'll test you for the next time, right?
Yeah, I don't know who said that. It sounds like a shark. I don't know. Was that like a Brandon or I don't know?
I'll
some
go
green
back
person.
and find it. Yeah, search the transcripts. No, but it was more of to build up the confidence for later in a game, because a lot of
I think there's a lot of merit to that. So one of my things, I really struggle, like if I were in Yoni's position, I would absolutely be drawing here. Like I don't like playing without allies. I don't like playing at the end of the game where everything is on the line and you're sort of just figuring out like individual tactics and trying to count centers. And a lot of the reason for that is I don't have a lot of experience with it. So there is merit to that, right? If you are in this position more often, it'll become more normal and you'll become better at it. I also think like a lot of that is because it's not the way that I like to play. It's sort of a cyclical thing, right? I don't like to play it that way, so I don't do it. So I don't get better at it, so I don't like it, so etc.
Yep. And this is not a criticism of the choice. This is more just a
I think sure. I mean, it really depends like why you like to play this game. A lot of players, I spoke with a lot of newer players when I was at the tournament in Las Vegas a couple months ago, and a lot of them just are so excited about a game of deception and betrayal and backstabs, because that's the way that diplomacy is marketed. And a lot of people are like really into that. They're like, how can we make the sneakiest stab? And so if that's something that, you really like doing, and if you're in this position, you're going to keep going. But I think it depends a lot on the person and the player.
Yep. Well done. That is a good board top, and round 2, board 1 that was. And now we are round 2, board 2 with a lot of single digit seeds here. We've got David Wigglesworth, who was also at the WDC in 2010. I forgot to mention that in round 1. In Austria, as long as Francesco Conte in England. Bradley Grace, the leader after round 1, is in France. Robert Schupa from Germany in Germany. Bernard, there's my guy from the Netherlands, is in Italy. Good to see you, Bernard. McCullis in Russia, and Perry Kester, also from a longer time player. This is a board of long time and well-known players. So let us have some fun with this one.
I didn't realize Francesco is from Heidelberg. I don't know if I missed that before, but Heidelberg is one of my favorite cities. So I'm now rooting for England.
There we go. All right. Well, then let's start you off in spring 1901.
Great. England standard opening. France supports to Burgundy. That doesn't necessarily mean anything. A lot of people swear that it's the best opening for France. So, Bradley and Robert know each other. I'm sure they talked about Burgundy. I doubt this is a super surprise. The bounce in Tyrolia is... oh, no. Okay, well... that's got to be a misorder, right, Robert? Oh, no. Okay, that has to be a misorder. Did Berlin go to Kiel also?
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe Robert saw how McCullis played Germany last round. It's like, if I am just kind of not there, people will take pity on me. And maybe he's trying to emulate that. Okay, that's really rough. That's not what you want to see as Robert or as Germany either, really. The bounce in Tyrolia is kind of interesting. If I'm Germany, I'm almost never using my time to do that. So I wonder, the negotiations that got them to that point. There's also a bounce in Galicia. There is the Armenian fist bump this time. I wasn't just saying things when it was really a bounce in Black Sea. So that's good to see from Turkey. And McCullis makes, standard openings as Russia.
The bounce in Tyrolia, Jamal. Sometimes you'll want that to happen if you know France is forcing Burgundy. I'm in Munich already. I don't have to worry about.
I think as Germany, you cannot afford to have France in Burgundy and Italy in Tyrolia. So if you know that France is forcing Burgundy, and you also know that Italy's coming to Tyrolia, well, you really need to stop one of them. And if
you also really need to move Kiel and Berlin.
Well, he's still gonna get Denmark out of it. So good for him.
He gets Denmark, but England is convoyed into Holland, and if that's not a worse situation, that's a pretty rough situation for Germany. If he can pull this around, that would be really, really impressive. I think I mentioned this earlier. He seems to keep his cool under pressure, so maybe he can deal with this. But this is a really tricky position to be in. England and France aren't necessarily cooperating, but England is all in on Germany, and I'd be pretty surprised if Bradley doesn't join in.
Yep.
In the east, we've got Italy convoying to Tunis, Austria picking up Serbia and Greece, McCullis picking up Romania with support from Turkey. Black Sea is open, and Turkey's got the fleet out into Aegean, so the RT, or at least Turkey, I think, is expecting an IR.
Be good. Germany and Russia could team up here with Germany being weak. Russia does not want to pile on, and maybe having the juggernaut along with it might be helpful. We'll see how that goes. +3 for France does wave, leaves Paris open, and England, after
Bradley.
going full bore, waves as well.
Love it. All the waves. Waves are good. Always wave.
No, waves are not great. I don't think I would have waved as England.
No.
Because
France, maybe.
France, maybe. You've got 3, you've got another one. But yeah, well, let's see what he does.
And it's actually secretly a Western triple.
Oh,
Yes.
boo.
Norway.
Robert, you coward. I know you were forced into this position, but you coward, Robert.
Robert has cut the deal he had to cut and is now pushing up against Russia, and England's backing out and going to Norway. Norway gets Bradley to self-bounce in Burgundy, which is great. David Wigglesworth, a lot of supports and getting the first air of the tournament going. So Italy's now in Aegean, Russia's in the Black Sea, and Perry, I think, got jumped last game as well. So I think we did call Perry the chaos player last game. So
Yes.
so maybe people are aware of Perry's chaotic nature and just let's not mess with this game. Or Perry could be the nicest person on the face of the planet, and people are just mean. So if that's true, don't be mean to Perry.
Yeah.
Don't be mean.
Yeah, I will say Perry was feeling very confident about his alliance with McCullis, and McCullis said, no, thank you. It's possible that Black Sea is there for defensive purposes, but then you would expect something in Galicia. So it's not.
Yeah, it's there to defend Ankara, right?
Yeah.
Ankara is under threat, so you have to defend Ankara.
Right.
Michalis is taking they're putting Austria into Bulgaria. This is a full-blown air, and Perry's going down quickly, unfortunately. Michalis is losing Sweden, which is kind of expected, but Bradley has said, no, I can't Western Triple. I just can't.
Bradley.
So he's going to the North Atlantic Ocean here to back off, and has convoy options into Liverpool. In particular, because England is not actually going up and is actually going down. Bradley has helped Robert into Holland. So what we are seeing this game is that actually the best thing to do as Germany is give yourself a huge handicap, effectively miss order 1901, and then you have all the allies, which is great.
Story of the tournament so far.
The DBN players have looked at the data to see that the best way to survive as Germany is to I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
Robert, building +2, 1 in the bank for Bradley, did not gain this time. David picks up 1, but can't use it. Not a good effective use of your units. Perry pulls 1 here and pulls the fleet. Fleet army for Robert and fleet breast for Bradley. Makes sense. Katie.
Yeah, we do see the convoy into Liverpool. That's really nice. We kind of knew it was coming, and then you have NAO to defend it, and that's solid. Meanwhile, Germany is moving into Hell and is moving to Skagerrak, and Michalis is falling behind into Sweden. Could or could not be a range. Maybe Michalis is going to follow into Norway, but this is definitely E and G ganging up on England, and with Russia maybe sneaking around behind and getting some stuff. The AIR is still fully on Russia, supporting Italy into Smyrna, and they will, I believe, take Khan in the fall. So I think this is probably Perry's last year, and the AIR is already going to the line. So, the reason that Western Triples are tedious is also the reason AIRs can be tedious, but it might be a godsend for my friend from Heidelberg. So go AIR.
At this point, Bradley has the jump on Francesco. Is Robert too late to the party to get any builds up that way? Should he be focusing more towards Michalis Jamal?
I mean, at this point, if you've got Austria into Bohemia and Tyrolia, you need to call off the attack on England and actually defend east, because the further you push west, the more you're going to lose from behind. I think Robert is a little late to the party here, but I mean, there's no world that Bradley's stabbing Robert in this position, because Bradley needs Robert to hold off the air. So there's certainly survival in this, and I think there could be a decent score if they can negotiate this well.
Or you can just say, "Hey, Italy or France is the problem, not me."
Yeah, and then negotiate it well.
Okay, so Italy and Austria, just as soon as they are bordering Munich, are leaving. Not entirely sure what Austria is going to do from Tyrolia, but they're moving around, seeing what's what. Turkey does lose Khan to Michalis, actually. I expected that to go to Austria. Maybe because Michalis said, "Oh, I'm losing Sweden, help me out." But then also he took Norway, so he will get a build out of this. Italy will get a build. Was that?
Michalis is getting Sweden as well. It's 3.
Oh, getting Sweden. Oh, I read that backwards. Yeah. So maybe I don't know. Maybe David just likes Michalis a lot and wants him to get 3 builds. Who knows?
David does have 1 in the bank, so and only 1 spot to put it.
Okay, so he'll build in Trieste. Turkey is out of this game. Goodbye, Perry. You were not a chaos player here. You were somebody who put your trust in Russia, and it got you killed. And shame on Michalis for that. Meanwhile, Bradley keeps Liverpool, and Germany's in North Sea, which no longer looks quite so bad because Italy and Austria did leave Munich. I would have thought maybe Holland would go back towards Kiel or something, but I guess he read those players correctly. So big year for Michalis, really bad year for Francesco, and the last year for Perry.
Yeah. Robert with the tough year too.
Yeah.
Holland goes, so Holland won't be pulling back towards Munich. It will be pulling off the board. South goes.
The move that tipped me off to this was Warsaw to Livonia, opening up Warsaw for a build, and it being Livonia so that you can march straight to Prussia here. And I think Michalis might have Michalis has done a very nice little sneaky structuring of this alliance to his own benefit, where he calls off the attack on Germany and accepts that. But what he really gives himself time to do is to put himself in the position to take stuff off Germany rather than Austria in the position to take stuff off Germany. So when it was Austria and Italy and Bohemia and Tyrolia, well, now it's going to be Michalis in Prussia, Silesia, Baltic, and all that. And this is some very good, subtle diplomatic play by Michalis to put himself in the box seat.
So the question is, I want to see where David moved to. Will he go towards Bernard or will he go towards Munich? He will go towards Munich.
Yep. So David has is sticking with the air, and everyone says that the air is the right thing to do. Michalis, probably acknowledging that he's got a little bit too much dominance in the north, is giving up the fleet in Con, which is the right alliance play. So well done to him for making that call. I mean, there's a world where that could have retreated to Aegean instead, and everything's off. But I think it's the right play to not break the alliance so soon. Bradley and Bernard are now at fisticuffs in the south, which again is great for the Russian side of the air. It looks like Francesco is now on board with this Western Triple, where they have to deal with the Big Russia. Robert's taking Norway back, which is some good progress, but positionally, they've lost Prussia, they've got armies in Bohemia and Tyrolia, and they've lost position in Baltic. This is not looking great for Robert.
Katie, Francesco doing a nice job pirating or being the junior partner here. Western Triple, a late Western Triple is better than no Western Triple, right?
Yeah, it's hard to say the tap on North. I mean, that could have been Michalis asking him to tap it to cut support. It could have been him saying, well, if you're going to leave North, I'll be there. I think Francesco is probably just scrambling and playing to stay alive, which is what I would do if I were him.
Yep, and Bradley allows that.
Okay, this is a little strange. Is it Jamal's turn still? Yes.
You go.
Well, Bradley's got not a lot of moves, but I guess they're happening. North sneaks into Belgium, and you've got to imagine that's not really allowed. So good for Francesco. Claw yourself back into this game. Meanwhile, Germany. Well, I don't want to do everything for you. You go ahead.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of swaps. So Germany's lost Berlin, but picks up Sweden, doesn't hold on to Norway. Maybe made a bit of an incorrect guess there. But yeah, Francesco building one here is big because they can build an army at Edinburgh and actually play to retake Liverpool and cause Bradley some grief. In the rest of the board's pretty standard. The airs sticking together and just trying to make play on the line here with the swap of con.
Yeah, Austria and Munich also. And is that with French support?
Or no? 2v2.
Oh, bounces with French supporting Silesia. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, so Bernard gets one here. Bradley is pulling one for the loss of Belgium, for which the army in Eddie, it's not. It is Fleet. Army Kiel was a rebuild. All right. Spring 1905, Katie.
Yeah, you've got Russia continuing to push. The convoy into Kiel is really nice. I was going to say something about how I didn't like the fleet in Berlin, but I mean, if you're going to do that, it doesn't matter too much. Also, Warsaw moving into Silesia, and they're setting up to take Munich. I think seems quite likely to succeed, if not guaranteed. Italy makes a nice little guess, not blocking Lyon and going into Marseille. So congrats to Bernard. That's a really cool move. And just a lot of nice bounces in the East from the AIR. Germany takes Norway with French support. And I actually think can keep that one because there aren't as many Russian fleets up in the north.
Yeah, look, Italy getting the army into Marseille here is really big for the air because that there's so few French armies defending the homeland. So now Bradley's going to have to use a lot of their power to defend centers like Paris and Brest and that kind of thing, which is really just going to hand the advantage to Russia and Austria in the German homeland here. So yeah, I think to me this looks like the air is through if they want it.
Yeah, and Francesco is definitely not being a junior partner to the EG. He is, playing for himself, taking what he can, and saying, you know what, you guys screwed me, screw you, and I have a lot of respect for that. Bradley's having to defend against that instead of fighting the AIR, and I think that's really going to put whatever the phrase is, it's going to be hard for Bradley to do.
Yeah. Well, now Bradley's got to focus. Come back to Bella. Who cares about Munich anymore? I gotta get mine.
Yeah, going back to Belgium. He's in Eddie, so he's going to be up 2 from that. So he's just straight up 2, actually. So it's really not a bad year for Bradley in terms of center count. And I don't know that his position has lost too much. Oh, he does lose Marseille, so he'll be up 1. England gets into hell with Russian support. Sorry, Holland with Russian support. So England is only going to be down 1 and not 2. Germany loses Kiel, Munich, and hell. Bad turn for Robert. He's going to be left on just 2 in Denmark and Sweden and Norway. Okay, I got to start reading the whole map before I start listing out numbers. So Robert does keep Norway. And then, the East is still, everything's fine and dandy. AIR continues to make progress in various arenas, which is especially not necessarily easy, but it definitely helps that Francesco is helping out and causing some chaos for them.
Yeah, Jamal, I was surprised that when Bernard went back to Smyrna, figuring opening up Khan for one of his allies to take, but they're letting him get the spoils of it. 4, 5, 6, 7 in 4 consecutive years, and that's how this one ends. McAuliffe tops with 1 center differential, but that board top does get you the points.
Yeah, and I think this looks pretty negotiated by McAuliffe, so it's a good diplomatic play to convince the heir that he should get the solo top rather than it be a shared top, because he doesn't have the position to demand it. He's not necessarily going to take all the Scandinavian centers back. And I think there's a good argument to say for Italy or Austria to say, well, I've got more centers in France. I should at least be able to catch up. So well done to McAuliffe for negotiating his way to the board top here. But again, strong alliance sticks together, makes its way to the end.
Yeah, if this game plays for 1 more year and McAuliffe is on the outs, I don't think he tops it all, right? Like Italy takes Spain, Austria takes Romania. Maybe they take Ankara together. Yeah. Well, I guess they can't take Ankara together, but whatever. Yeah. So I agree with you.
Romania, they're growing.
It's not me, but I agree
here, right? If you're putting down Army Vienna, I don't know. What would you build as Italy here? Probably another fleet.
Oh, I mean, there's an Austrian stab on McAuliffe here if he wants 5 extra centers as well, right? So, it's a well-negotiated position.
Yep. All right. That was round 2, board 2. Round 2, board 3 gets us the following players. Marcus Olsson, who was in our earliest game, I think. We got him in Austria. Richard Koning in England. We have actually 2 boards in round 2 here in France on this one. Liam Horn in Germany. Jacob Kochner in Italy. Micah Blom, 2 boards. Or was that round? Did Micah play both boards? No.
I don't think so.
Maybe I'm
I said,
I said the other one, yeah.
Yeah, and then Garrett Peltier in Turkey. Let us get to the map. We'll put Jamal back into the odds, and we'll start.
Nothing strange. Armenian fist bump. I love the Italian move to Tuscany. I really actually quite like that one. Class is forcing themselves into Burgundy. They've had a rough game a couple of times, and there's no way you're going to jump me this time.
Micah opens north, which might not be strange, but I think it's notable.
We used to see a lot of northern openings.
Yeah, well, actually, Melissa Cole, your favorite Australian, really values the Russian northern opening. And I think if you can get a DMZ in Galicia and a DMZ in the Black Sea, it gives you the freedom to do it.
Yep. All right, to the fall.
And you know what? Micah just really gets her way. Walk into Sweden, walk into Romania, walk into the Black Sea. Because, after last time when everyone was really weary of Micah, they've now decided they're not weary of her and they can just let her have everything, which is amazing for her. Jacob convoys over to Tuscany, Tunis rather, but Garrett's out into the Aegean already. So potentially Juggernaut cooperation if Black Sea is agreed. Other than that, no one can decide who wants Belgium, and there's a little bit of a misorder by Liam here to stop Richard getting it. So It looks like that there was maybe an attempt to put the army in there, but it didn't go. I don't know, maybe a lucky break for Klaus in this situation.
All right, that gets us with +1 in both Western countries, +2 for Germany and Austria and Russia. Interesting builds. Fleet London, Army Paris with the +1. That's not usual. Let's see. Fleet Naples, 2 armies for Austria, 2 southern armies for Russia, and Fleet Inc. So let's assume Black Sea was not welcome. Not welcome at all.
Yep. Totally agree. Interesting to do that and then to also put 2 armies up north, but Micah is going to have Norway guaranteed, so she'll be building. Keeping the army in St. Pete last turn was interesting. It's kind of limiting and it takes away some of your options, but sometimes that's good because if you could just build 2 armies and sort of play like Russia centralized, sometimes it's like safer and smarter to do. So I like this from her. And, she is moving Moscow north and away from Turkey, who is her target in the south, but there's an AIR on and she doesn't really need that army. So Turkey's in some trouble anyway, I think. I do wonder if Black Sea was misordered because you'd think it was supposed to tap Con, but who knows? We've got France taking Belgium with support from, I think that's England. At the same time, they moved to the Channel, so that's kind of funny. Yes. But we've got Germany into Hell, and I think it's that's certainly anti-England. So we will see.
Mid-Atlantic supporting Spain to Gascony, which instead of bouncing Channel, interesting.
Yeah, it's important
strategy.
All right, so France does pick up Portugal as expected and keeps Belgium without even any support on it. So good for Claes. That's up 2 for him. Germany is not able to get into North Sea and just kind of hold still while Micah does take Norway. Richard is moving into Barents. That's not a retreat. It's just straight up moving there. And I think that's really fascinating considering you've got, Denmark and you've got Germany moving on you. And I don't know, it's bold. We'll see how that works out. In East, Austria takes Bulgaria and takes Aegean. And it's looking like another pretty quick game for Turkey.
We opened up the air in the last couple of games. Winter 1902. So France recovers, gets +2, Austria +1, Russia +1. England is already pulling. Rebuild for Turkey puts down Fleet Smyrna, usually want another army for defensive purposes, but does not go that way. Fleet Brest, and Barents goes away. Micah plays south. Army Sev. Let's see where that one goes, Jamal.
Goes straight to Ankh, and wow, and Jacob lands the Lepanto Oof. As well. So yeah, a very quick game for Garrett. And I think Klaus and Liam are making some progress against Richard here. They're getting into English Channel, Mid-Atlantic, North Sea. But this is the danger of playing when you've got such a strong alliance on the other side of the board. Is I don't think they can outpace how quickly the air is going to take down Turkey. So if I'm Liam and Klaus, I want to be pretty confident in sowing discord amongst the air so they turn against each other here, because if not, suddenly you're getting hit by the three-way alliance and you've just spent all of your time trying to take down England. And maybe you should have Western tripled. I'm just saying. Maybe you should have Western tripled.
I want to. Can I add one thing to that really quick off of what you said? First of all, you should not have Western tripled. That's not the way to go. But you said something about making sure that you're sowing discord in their alliance, which I think is really important. I also think it's just important to have open communications with them, because I have been in triples in the East that are really just two-way alliances. That's one and then the other. And if the West reacts to a triple super quickly, it locks up the game. Nobody gets any progress, including the West. And it can be really bad for the overall state of the game. So I think, if Germany and France are talking to, I don't know, say Italy and Russia, and they get a really good sense that, this is going to be a wintergreen, maybe they don't have to freak out and move to the line, because they can continue to take out England sort of in peace, and then it'll be 2-on-2 sort of versus 3-on-3, which is at least more interesting and gets the game farther along. And I think a lot of times people see triples in the East and just think, that's an AIR till the end of time, or whatever, till the end of time, a rat, whatever. And it's just like, well, now it has to be, because now you've moved on us. So I think sowing discord's important, and I also just think like communicating and listening to what's happening on the other side of the board is really important, so that you can tell what the players are really thinking besides just their sort of triple E tactics.
Yeah, you're absolutely right there, Katie. And typical Katie, taking my intention and communicating it so much better and clearer and in a much nicer way.
Oh my gosh.
Well, here, Jamal, let me follow up on that with some data here. Based on Katie, so it's you get more 3v3s because the East is locked and happy, or do you get more 3v3s because the West overreacts in your experience?
Look, I think you create reality as much as reality creates itself, right? Which I think is another way of what Katie was saying, that you can get reactions if you think a thing is going to happen, and if you react heavily to it, then you force that thing to happen. So if the West here were to get freaked out by the air and suddenly form a triple and rush to the line, the air doesn't have much choice except to form an air properly and defend that. And so, you know, there is a good justification for just giving them the space to fight internally, but also to having your lines of communication so you know what's going on, because it's the prisoner's dilemma. If you're wrong and there is an air, then you're screwed. But if you do have the lines of communication into that alliance well, and you can actually know what's going on, and you know that it isn't really an air, they're about to just crush Austria, then you can have the space to step back. So yeah, as Katie said, having your informants on the other side of the board and talking to them, and actually, if Russia and Germany are the big alliance here, and actually they're really going to work together all game, that's the way to know when the right time to react and not. And if you don't have that, you might react and you might create the very thing you're scared of.
And then Katie, one last follow up on that is it player dependent if you're on the West and you're looking at who is in that air? Is it going to be, oh, it's these three, I'm never going to break them up? Or is it, ooh, there's a chance I'm going to work on Austria, or I'm going to work on Russia?
Yeah,
without giving away all your secrets?
You mean if you see Ed and Saren and a third person in an AIR, are we reacting to that?
Yep. I was going to call it a Fogel, but you know.
No, I don't know. I mean, it can be somewhat player dependent, but like I hope that I'm known as an ally, like an alliance player. That means different things to everybody. I like strong alliances. I never go into a 3-way alliance thinking it's going to last forever. I really, really am hoping from the beginning that I'll find a partner and that the two of us will click better than the third person. So like even somebody like me who doesn't like stabbing, like I don't want the air or whatever. It's usually an air, right? But like I wouldn't want it to continue to a point where the board locks up, and I'd always want like a backup plan. So I don't think it's really player dependent. I really think it's just it's player dependent in the sense of like, how much do you trust what this person is telling me is true? And you know, if Jamal is promising me that he's going to attack Austria with Italy later, then it's, do I trust Jamal? And if he's lying to me, it's not necessarily like, is he gonna be a triple player or whatever. Now, if Jamal is on the West and he's saying he's not in a Western triple, then I obviously don't believe a word he's saying, because he's clearly on the dark side when it comes to that.
Yeah, you stole that because you're saying, well, but if it's a triple, well, it's got to be an air then. No, it doesn't.
It doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be. It often is. Yeah.
It should be the Western triple, right, Jamal?
It should be. And look, it is still an air.
No. The Western triple. Wait. Can I clarify? The Western triple is really different from an air, right? Yeah. Because an AIR takes out Turkey, or an RTI, whatever, takes out Austria, and then you can still take out another person before you go to the line. If the Western triple is working together, they're just going to the line. There's no delaying. There's no more interesting things that can happen. It's just this game locks up and is boring. So they're an AIR and a Western triple are very different, in my opinion.
Well, as we can see on this board, there is an air and there is no Western triple. So this board is listening to Katie and trying to be perfect. So they're taking Con, and Garrett is done. Thank you for playing, Garrett. Unfortunate, sometimes this happens. And Richard is also in a fair bit of trouble here with the army landing in Wales, fleet in Irish Sea. So this is Germany and France trying to make quick progress, and they are trusting that this area is about to break. So next turn, I think, is going to be pivotal.
A&R seemed locked in there. Eastern Med did not need to support Smyrna. No, did need to support Smyrna. So could not run away from the line. So Italy is delayed in returning by a little bit. Let's see how that plays out in the alliance. And everyone in the air is building, and no one in the West is. 3 armies come down.
That's not
So-
very air-like, is it?
No, and so this is, I think, where Katie's made a great point, right? Is that actually the communication between Klaus and Jacob is probably pretty good. So France and Italy have actually decided they're not fighting each other here, and so the one who's actually built against the air is Jacob. And I am also conscious of Micah's Moscow to Ukraine last year, followed up by a build in Warsaw. So yeah, I think Klaus has some intel, and so Klaus is feeling comfortable to go and attack Richard.
I also think that makes the most sense for France and Italy to be the ones talking about that, right? Because they have the most to lose. But we say that, and then there's this nonsense. So whatever. I was really excited in the builds, and now I'm not.
Well, tell us about it then. Tell us why you're not excited.
Well, I'm not excited. It's really great it is great for the air, right? I mean, they're in Piedmont and Western Med. Italy's got a great position on France. France did just convoy into London successfully, but and so did Germany. Germany just convoyed into York successfully. So all of that anti-English success is sort of got a damper on it because now there are units at their borders. Munich is safe, so Germany doesn't have to be quite as worried, but France is certainly losing either Marseille or Spain. In the West, we've got, Russia is taking Smyrna, but probably they're probably just blowing up that fleet. It's fast. Wait, is that an army?
That's an army.
An army. So they're just probably going to rebuild it. I'm guessing. I wouldn't be surprised if Russia walks out, although now they don't really have to because Italy's going to get a build.
Well, and they haven't gone to the line, right? So we were talking about maybe Klaus and doing the communication, but maybe it's Liam and Micah, because the German fight has not eventuated, and Micah has pulled all the armies back. And I don't know if she's going after Italian centers or Austrian centers, but she's not going to the line.
That's true, and really nobody's going after Liam, right? Like Austria could have gone to Bohemia and Tyrolia and didn't. So maybe Liam's just really, really good at getting people to stay away from him while he goes and invades England, which is kind of fun. So England still is alive because Germany can't take Eddie because Clyde is supporting it, but France does get Liverpool and London. What the heck? Does not need to guard Marseille because Jacob defends Venice instead of going for Marseille. Claes walks out of Belgium. I would bet a lot that's negotiated because Liam's also leaving Munich. I think they're sort of preparing for the line, and they've got one more English center to shore up before they move on. I'm not really sure. It's almost like there's an AIR that has decided they've taken out Turkey, and that's the only thing they want to do in this game, and they just really want everyone else to draw, and they don't want to stab each other, and they don't want to fight anybody else. So maybe this is going to be over next year when England dies.
Yeah, it feels like a prep for a draw.
Well, if no one's going to push towards Micah, I mean, at this point, 60 is a good score. Maybe a couple more centers for her to take, a couple German centers.
We play on. So Micah does now make the move on Liam, going to Skagerrak, going to Silesia, but not fully, holding a bunch of their southern units. So there's something going on in the air that the trust isn't there. And fair enough, because Marcus is convoyed to Naples. And yeah, there was a bunch of wacky moves going on in the air in the south. And I think Micah's just giving Marcus a chance to properly stab Jacob here, which is now happening. Naples is gone. Venice is probably guaranteed next in the fall. Oh, not quite, but yeah, it's play on Rome and all this stuff. It's it's not looking great for Jacob. And Klaus is now done with England, moving back south, and getting into position. So, yep, the air was not there long term, and it looks like maybe it's Russia Austria that's the pairing here, and Liam is I don't know, in an okay position, but going to need to lean on his diplomacy here to stop Micah from just putting the hammer down a little bit.
And maybe it's not AR.
Well, yeah, and not only does Liam convince Micah not to put the hammer down, he convinces Micah to walk out of Norway and give it to him and not go for anything else because I guess Micah's getting Bulgaria and Con, and the holding all units was just getting ready to sucker punch Marcus here. And Marcus has been sucker punched. So just as he's taking all of Jacob's units, Mike is taking all of his units. And Klaus is also barging straight into Tyrrhenian Sea as well. So It is a triple alliance, but it is an FGR, which is not commonly seen, but as you can tell, can be very powerful when it gets going properly.
Yeah, I mean, Austria's still up one after all that, right? They got 3.
They got all the Italian home centers.
Yeah.
Oh, Jacob.
Up 2. They disbanded Con. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, that's wow. That's one of the steepest Italian slopes I've ever seen.
Yeah.
That's rough. That's a rough year.
Leaves Tunis, which is indefensible at this point. Warsaw could not be built, so North Coast St. Pete is on. So that is.
What does that mean? Did she like?
only
She
plus
put
one.
down 2, and I see. Okay.
Yeah. So
How does it decide? How do you decide?
Alphabetically.
Alphabetically?
Yep.
Ew. Okay.
Let's see. Spring 1906, we are barely playing. St. Pete takes Norway, which doesn't even retreat. So let's assume we are ending here. Yes, we are ending 12. So to go through that, we get 2 more on the board. I don't know how much is a point. Is a point or 2 worth it? So 63 is now the best score of the day. 62 by Bradley in round 1.
Maybe it's best Russia.
Yep.
Well, no, what did McCallus have? Less than this, I think. 12 is pretty high.
Yeah.
It's a dominant game by Micah, though. This
Yeah.
is why she's the best. Just managed to work an alliance up until the point it didn't serve her anymore, and had another alliance in pocket ready to go as soon as this one was ready to collapse. So yeah, really well done.
I'm not convinced that Austria wasn't fine with this. Austria got 3 builds and lost 2. I mean, maybe Micah's like, hey, you're still gaining something, and I'm not going to do nothing in the corner. So
Yep.
Yeah, could very well be.
All right. Round 2, board 4. We have Austria, Simon Westendrup, England, Frank Oostrom, who was the TD back in 2010 at the WBC. France is Jamal's favorite, Grief. Germany, Christian Wiestendahl, that's what I'm going to say. Italy, William Lavukin. Russia, Rennie Van Ruzian. And Turkey is Dr. Finkenstein. I think we do have a couple 2 borders in this evening round. This was the Saturday evening round, so let us see how it goes. Katie, let's have you go first.
all right.
Hey, there we go. Hell.
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
Christian, let's see what happens.
Go.
That doesn't get you anything.
Gets you everything. Gets you everything.
The only
Jamal's
thing it can
praise.
do that Denmark can't do is support something to Holland. That can't be worth it. I don't know. All right. It can't do anything. It's already okay. It's fine. It's fine. We'll see what he does. Maybe
That
there's
is the
some.
point. The point is it can't do anything. That's the entire reason you do it. Anyway.
Why would you do that?
Wait a minute. Jamal, when did you change your name?
I just around the last game. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Maybe, yeah.
Back to
Okay.
spring 1901.
I mean, you could be bounced out of Denmark. That's horrible. I don't like it. Good luck, Christian. Good luck. All right. England's got a standard opening. France has a pretty standard opening.
Really, other than that one move, it is standard.
Everything is standard. We've got, once again, Turkey following the army in Smyrna to Khan, so we won't be getting that Ankara fleet out early. But yeah, other than that, everything is standard. We've got bounces in Galicia and the Black Sea.
And in the fall, cease to
No. Okay, I will die on this hill. Denmark is for fleets, okay? Denmark is only for fleets. Do not put an army in Denmark. The only time you should put an army in Denmark is if you have to put it there as you're convoying from England into Russia. Denmark is for fleets. Christian, I wish you the best of luck, and I don't know you, and I hope you're not angry at me for saying this, but this is bad. You got to put the fleet in Denmark. Okay.
Christian's my favorite player. This is exactly how to play this one. England's on side. France loves you. Russia loves you. This is great.
Ugh.
Western triple.
If it's a Western triple, then you've already messed up, and Jamal already loves you, so we don't have anything more to talk about. So William in Italy is taking Trieste, but moving to Eastern Med, which is really interesting because usually that fleet goes to Aegean, so that you can make a play on Bulgaria. But it's kind of a fun twist on the standard sort of give me Trieste and I'll go attack Turkey play that Italy and Austria usually come to or often come to. Meanwhile, Turkey is in Black Sea. And I think not very friendly towards Renee. So yeah, it's probably not going to be the best of games for Italy or for Russia, but it's probably going to be also not the best of games in general, because that's what Western triples give you. Not good games.
Eastern Med. Don't see too many Italian fleets in the Eastern Med in winter 1901, but we do get one here. And a build +3 for France. No waves this time. We get 2 armies and a fleet. Fleet Berlin and Fleet Sev. Ooh, all right.
Fleet Sev. Ooh, an army Ankara. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting.
All right. Southern fisticuffs ensue. Ankara goes to Armenia. Sev's pushing into Black Sea with support. And yeah, it looks like Zimon and William are going, great. Here's another chance to air and another chance to take out Turkey. France is pushing into Burgundy, which is seemingly pretty anti-German, but in exchange, getting an English fleet into the English Channel. So this might turn around quite quickly. And Christian is going to Baltic, trying for Sweden, not getting there, but can guarantee it in the fall with an army, which is great to have an army in Sweden, particularly if it walks over from Denmark. And just defending a little bit against the French attack. So we'll see if this French keeps going with it, or if they can turn them back around. Christian, with his amazing diplomatic skills, greatest player on this board, based on his opening, I guarantee you he's going to turn this French attack around.
Yeah, I will note that if Renee had tapped Baltic, which is what I would have done if I were Russia, then Sweden is safe, at least from just Germany on its own. So that fleet, or that Denmark unit, if it was a fleet, could have supported Baltic. Ugh, it's fine.
Oh, there was a missed convoy too. So Norway didn't go. Norway tried to go to Yorkshire through Norwegian rather than through North Sea. So missed opportunity there.
Yep, that does not work. Burgundy, Paris to Burgundy has 2 supports on it with no way of that even being stopped by one unit.
Yeah, sure.
Very
good job, Tom.
So Tom de Grief now bringing de Grief to Christian. So yeah, it is in Rouen, in Burgundy, in covering Brest, and psych. Frank wasn't actually attacking France. Frank was attacking Christian, but it doesn't get anywhere. It doesn't actually get anywhere because there's enough defensive units. And you have this amazing fleet in Helgoland, which is just going to stop any English progress against you. So really good positioning from Christian here, covering Munich, and the rest is pretty much air happening. Convoy from Albania to Syria. I do like that. That is a nice little Lepanto pickup there. So yeah, the air is now moving here again. And I think we've seen this game before. Where the West fights amongst itself and there's an air. So we'll see what happens in this one.
Yeah, round 2, everyone maybe a little tired, and so we've fallen into the same script over and over. Let's see if anything happens here. Army Budapest. No change in strategy with that. And wow, the French armies keep moving.
Ooh, yeah, just walking right into Munich. Not only undefended, but Christian trying to leave. Good for Tom. That's great. At the same time, English Channel moves out of English Channel and into North Sea. North Sea moves to the Skagerrak. Great turn for Tom, I will say. I don't think too much else is happening. The Baltic to Bothnia is a little interesting. Maybe they're gonna try to support. I don't know. Nobody needs support into St. Pete. Anyone could walk in. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're just scrambling to try to survive. Yeah. What was that?
It could be trying to block Sweden to Bothnia or something. If you think Russia and England are going to work together.
Yeah. There is Russian movement from Seb to Armenia. Meanwhile, Italy does take Smyrna, and that fleet or army in Smyrna is piffed. So playing down a unit for the fall turn is never great. It's especially not great if you're Turkey in an AIR, because I'm pretty sure Turkey loses Khan and Ankara this turn, and it can't be stopped.
I think that is it. Here is the position for follow 3.
Although AIR also moving to the line, and France, France supporting Silesia into Berlin, because why not? You're fighting Germany, get Russia to fight Germany too. England takes Denmark, France stays in Munich, and Russia's in Burgundy. So Germany is down 3 and is left with just Kiel and Holland. Um,
I think we're seeing our third in a row 1903 elimination of Turkey. Great
Yeah.
round for Turkey.
yeah, that's rough. Yeah, I mean that's it. Turkey and almost Germany on the ropes. So
+1 for France and England. Christian goes down 2 more. Italy's building 2. Russia's building 2. 2 fleets for Italy, 2 armies for Russia. Army Marseille, our fleet London. All right, Russia with the slight lead heading into spring 1904, Jamal.
Yeah, and it looks like the air is sticking together. So Russia says, "Thank you for your help into Berlin. I'm now going to help Austria into Munich." I reckon Romania looks pretty arranged. They're kind of pulling back out of that into Sev or whatever else. I'm not sure why they don't blow up the fleet. That would make a bit of sense here if they were all fully on board, but that's okay. They don't have to. It looks like Russia isn't really going to fight England. So again, one of the keys to a three-way alliance is finding yourself a mole on the other side of the board. And so, they had France helping them into Berlin, and now they're going to work with England to probably help England into German centers and buy some goodwill there. So some good play from Renee here. De Grief is reading the Italian coming, so rotating around, but they don't quite have the fleet supremacy. So De Grief may be for the first time in a bit of grief this tournament. So we'll see how this goes.
Well, I don't know if this was a planned into Romania. My guess is that, hey, let's self bounce in 7. We'll pop your fleet here. Oh, and by the way, we'll try to take Ankara too.
But who was going to bounce? He didn't bounce himself in Sev.
He didn't, but I think that was the pitch. Oh, why don't you just bounce yourself and we'll blow it up?
Oh, maybe.
I don't know. We will see. This is about the best Leviathan we've seen so far in these first 2 rounds.
Yeah, they're just going to take it back. They're rotating the army back in. Just put the army there instead, I guess.
Kind of weird though. If you're Austria, you'd much rather have that fleet be there.
I don't know why you'd want this as Simon, but Simon has been known to do some weird and wacky stuff, and it tends to work out for him. France and Germany now working together to retake Munich, which, again, late-breaking Western triple, but it is Germany's last breath that they're doing that with, unfortunately. So they are out. Christian, you are the best player on this board. No one could tell it wasn't your fault. It was everyone else's.
How could Tom convince him to do that?
Yeah. And then because Christian's the best, because this is just what Christian does.
Or did Berlin support what? I don't know. It's fine.
Yeah. I don't know what happened.
Berlin supported it. Okay.
The Austrian and the Russian tried to put Christian back into Kiel. That makes sense. And then in the south, William has the jump on Tom, and there's lots.
No, wait. I'm sorry, but I think it's important, right? Like Russia supported France into Munich, taking it from Austria.
Yes.
So Russia is slipping on Austria, right? Probably.
I think. Yeah, I think Russia thought it was an attack. In the last turn, but now they're back at it. Austria feels bad, walked out, even though they were going to try and put themselves back in.
Yeah.
The East is a mess at this point. The East is a mess.
Yeah. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. As usual, Katie with the perfect read.
I just read the literal words on the board.
I mean, they've got what, eight units here defending. I mean, Italy has 2 units defending 1 center. While they still have a forward progress over here, but the air is not as efficient as the last one. So Austria with a rebuild, yes, from a PIF, right? Maybe they didn't build last time.
I think Munich got piffed just now.
Munich got piffed.
Was it not Munich's to begin with? It was not Austria's to begin with?
Correct.
No, it was France. They took it in the spring and then.
Yeah, there we go. France is building 1 again, up to 8 to tie with Russia here. Builds fleet Brest. Interesting, given the. Oh, you got to bring it south.
Have to go south.
Yep, got to bring it south. That makes sense. Germany is off the board, and an army in Budapest. Spring 1905, Katie.
Spring 1905, we've got tense okayness between Russia and Austria, but Italy is completely pulling back. I think Italy realizes they're not going to get anything out of France, and says, well, maybe I'll go fight Austria. Maybe I'll at least defend myself from a stab. Might as well break up this because it's not doing anything for me, which I respect. And I think that more Italy and France's should do that more often. So good on them for negotiating that. I also think it's really nice that both Italy and France moved away on the same turn. A lot of times you see one person leaving and then the other person leaving. Like they just came together and were like, let's do this. It's not working for either of us. Let's leave. And I think that's great. France is not doing much of anything else. The France-England alliance, I think, is still on, although England did convoy an army to Denmark. Boo. but put the fleet in Denmark into hell and now has play potentially on Kiel. So I don't think it's all out war between them, but I think this turn just looks like people playing safe with their alliances to me, like all across the board, people just repositioning to like not get stabbed.
Yeah, the Southern Fleet movement was the most interesting, and then we get IA fighting each other. Oh, man.
We get Russia taking Constantinople, Italy taking Greece, so that's 2 down for Austria, although they do take Trieste, so only down 1. England takes Belgium
And Kiel.
Yeah.
Wow.
So both of those are surely not arranged. Well, no, because that would just flip them 8-6, 6-8. Yeah.
Vienna takes Trieste. Yeah. Vienna takes Trieste. There's a lot of switching here. This is about as dynamic as any board has been.
Mm-hmm.
It's
really funny after the last turn that seemed so like lukewarm to me. Now they're like, everyone for themselves.
France -2 going the other way. Russia does build 1 by taking Khan. And Italy, even with the piffs and takes and moves, gets to rebuild because the Trieste retreat was piffed. We got Fleet Liverpool, Army London. That's fun. Army Moscow, Army Venice. Piedmont, Portugal off the board. And that is how it ends. Ew.
All right.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I can see the game ending here. Renee probably hasn't pissed off anyone too much except for Austria and has the complete jump on Austria. So Simon's not going to win that fight. And if Frank and Tom engage fully, then Renee's the only one who's going to benefit from that. And maybe William can march into some French centers. But yeah, I can see why everyone would want to draw here. It makes sense for everyone. And if Renee's happy with 9 and a 1 center top, take it.
Nice. All right. So this is the end of round 2. Round 2 has us with a double board topper in McAuliffe leading the way right now. Yoni with a sole top and a shared top, not too far behind. And then a couple of single toppers or shared toppers, all within 20-ish points. But it really, at this point, a big number certainly could push someone up. But McAuliffe with a nice lead.
Well, I mean, we've seen that 60 points is a pretty solid board top. And I mean, anyone in the top 5 really could get 60. If the other results go their way, could win it from.
Need McAuliffe to have a middling result at best. Elimination is single digits, so certainly anything is on the table. All right, so this is end of round 2. I have not used this in a while. Let us use our fancy transition into round 3. All right, we're entering the final round, round 3, board 1. And wow, what a lineup this is. Austria, Bradley Grace. England, Rennie Van Rooyen. France, Robert Schupa. Germany, David Alberti, although better known this weekend as Euroshane. Italy, Tom de Grief. Russia, Bernard Aldrioli. And Turkey, Micah. What a lineup this is to start round 3.
Go Micah. Just kidding.
All right, so strategy-wise, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Turkey, Bradley, Tom, all in the East. Someone's got to be a quick elimination to guarantee survival, I would think. Let's see how it goes. I'll move Jamal up to the odd years. Take it away.
Yeah, and looks like Tom de Grief tries a sneaky little snag a Trieste and following up, but doesn't get it. So Bradley sniffing that out and a good bounce there, but gets Bernard into Galicia in exchange for that. So that's the East says knives out straight away. There's a bounce in Burgundy, which is always a nice little trust building exercise by Euroshane and Robert. And Renee's doing some pretty standard moves.
So with 3 Dutch players in the East as well, I wonder if Bradley will have it out for him this entire game. Follow-up says maybe.
Follow-up says no. Follow-up says this is actually an air. So putting Bernard into Romania away from Galicia. The loan of Trieste is on in exchange for a Gian. And Micah has gotten stuck bouncing in the Black Sea, so that's not great for her. And another bounce in Burgundy. Looks all agreed. Renee's gone to Belgium with the army. Could be a Western Triple. Could be not. We'll see. The Europeans don't seem to like it that much because I don't know. I guess they don't have any creativity. Yeah, we'll see what it goes up.
What is the most boring thing you could think of to do with diplomacy? The least creative thing is a Western Triple. Outrageous.
That is the second shot of the Australians. First attacking us Yanks last weekend. Now the Dutch coming after you. Katie, Micah should have been listening to your commentary from about a half hour ago. Critic Khan would have let her slip into Sevastopol.
Yeah.
All right. English armies maybe going to die in Belgium. Another one in London. Fleet Brest, Army Marseille. Fleet in Rome. Because Army Naples was blocking it. And Army Moscow. Take it away. Whoa.
Well, I don't know. You've got the movement to Burgundy. Certainly not very Western Tripoli. Renee's English moved into Skagerrak. Certainly not very Western Tripoli. It's definitely England and France, I think, moving on Germany. Robert is sort of hanging on to his fleets, not doing very much. They're just kind of waiting, which is fine because, Italy's already committed towards Turkey in the east. Bradley takes Bulgaria and just some rearranging. I guess Tom is already giving back Trieste, which is interesting. I mean, he's going to get Tunis this year, but Bradley will probably keep Bulgaria. So 2 builds for Bradley could be fun. I mean, there'll be armies because that's the only thing he can build, but certainly will give him some sort of stronghold in Austria. Germany makes it to Sweden. Did Germany bounce Russia out of Sweden? I didn't notice that last fall, but they must have. Yeah, which is kind of a bummer, and also is very early EG, but then Renee said, no, thank you. So Germany's in Sweden for now. I sort of doubt that will last very long. I don't know what Russia supported, but I don't think Germany's going to do it.
Norway to Sweden, probably.
I could see that happening now. And then maybe an attack on Denmark at the same time because they're both guaranteed.
No.
Well, nope. Just Sweden. And Holland, so why not? So Renee picks up Sweden and Holland, but Robert falls into Belgium, fairly standard. So they're both going to go up 1. Germany is going to be down 1, and Russia stays even with just the fleet up north. And if I'm Bernard, I'm pretty worried about that. I mean, and it's definitely nice that Renee moved Norway into Sweden. There's an immediate threat on St. Pete, but you're really losing unit superiority in the north very quickly. In the east, we're continuing on the attack of Micah. This is very sad for everybody being just me right here at home watching this later after it happened. Tom takes Constantinople with his fleet, so he is going to stay even because Bradley took Trieste, and Micah is going to be down 2. And this is bad. And there's been too many early Turkish deaths in this.
The air is the Western Triple of Europe, it seems. They just every game can't stop themselves.
There were a couple good Turkey games in the first round.
Yeah, the last 4 or 5 have all been awful, and clearly Team Euroshane. I don't know.
Not looking good. Come on, Euroshane, you can do it.
2 armies, as previously mentioned. We have Army Venice, Army Marseille, and Fleet London.
That's not very anti-German.
It is if you're going to Helgoland.
I guess it can be.
I think people have seen the move to Helgoland in the first round and went, hold on, why have we been ignoring Helgoland as a province this entire tournament? So now they're all coming to Helgoland, and which is bad news for Euroshane, which is why you go to Helgoland in the first place as Germany, is because if England's in Helgoland, then you're done for. So yeah, they look pretty done for here with Robert coming into Ruhr as well. Tom de Grief causing some peace with Robert and swinging back around, looking like maybe going to have a swing at Bradley Grace here. And Micah finding a small avenue for survival. Looks like she will be able to hold on to Smyrna this year, so he's not going to die immediately. It looks like Black Sea misordered a convoy over to Armenia, so a lifeline from Bernard.
Ruhr as well pronounced, and Ruhr now to Munich.
To Munich and into Ruhr again, and Western Med and North Africa, and Robert Schuper has decided that this is his game. He's going to have a red-hot crack at it. Renee gives him a hand by not convoying over to Kiel, so not picking up that build. And Euroshane sees the writing on the wall and does decide to go for the Western Triple here, convoying to Livonia, trying to be useful to the France and England alliance that is eating him alive. And might be, has some really good play on Moscow and Warsaw and some options here, particularly since Renee didn't take Kiel. So yeah, and Bernard, it stacks on Bradley, it looks like. It looks like it stacks on Bradley. Tom's going in, Bernard's going in. Micah gets to live another day. And yeah, I think we are really having a cracked East and a strong Western alliance.
A strong Western alliance with a baby partner, and I would not call this a triple. I would call this an EF and a little teeny baby Germany.
Yeah, and two of the three major players in the East are struggling here. Bradley down 2. Micah does hold on. No disbands this time, but still not in a great position. Although with Austria being teamed up on now, maybe Micah does survive. Let's see how that goes. England, France both building 1. Bernard building Warsaw. 2 fleets for Italy. Spring 1904, the Western not triple is still pushing east.
It is, and Renee is posed to take St. Pete this fall. Yeah, they're falling behind Germany. I think sort of as expected. Maybe they'll let Germany keep Berlin for the year. Maybe not. I don't know how generous Renee is. I don't know anything about him at all. I think Tom, they're 3-on-3 with fleets, but he was not in position to defend Tunis. And I wonder if just moving to Tuscany and Tyrrhenian Sea would have been maybe better, because he either blocks Tunis or gets Tyrrhenian Sea. He didn't really have to support himself there, but that's neither here nor there, and it's probably not a big deal. He does lose Trieste. Russia has stopped the attack on Austria, and so Italy is sort of left to defend for themselves, and they've got a huge France problem. So Robert is looking to take at least Tunis and is already pressuring Venice. Not seriously, but it's not looking good for Tom.
Onward to the fall.
We have England taking St. Pete as predicted. Germany takes Warsaw, and so we'll stay alive. England takes England takes Kiel and Berlin and Belgium. England is up 4.
And St. Petersburg.
Yeah, and St. Pete. Yeah, so England is up 4. That's fantastic. France will have 1 build. No, France will have no builds because lost Belgium. Robert. That's... I am expecting a really big... Well, I'm expecting a big English top, but I guess France is right there ready to cover MAO, so maybe it's really not the end of the world for France, but it's definitely huge growth for England. Italy loses Trieste and Venice and Caen and Tunis. Does pick up Serbia, but really not a good turn for Tom either. Micah stays on 2. Little shuffle in the East. +4.
Yeah.
That's
What
great.
a turn. -3 for Italy.
That means over half of his units took a center this year. That's pretty cool.
That's great. That is unit efficiency. Let's see what Italy pulls off here, because this could be really fun. Down goes Black. Down goes Serbia. Down goes Greece. Bradley is not dead yet.
Bradley's not dead yet. Tom might have some breathing room because Robert has to turn around and deal with this England problem.
Everyone has to turn around and deal with the England problem.
Yeah, Russia is not super threatened, right? There's just one army. So Russia can probably take back Warsaw. It's probably great for Bernard most after Renee, I would think. Maybe Micah will take back Ankara and she'll grow some or sneak in Greece or something.
At this point, take 3, maybe play another year or 2, get to 4. Let's see how it goes. Nope, it ends.
Okay.
No turning around necessary.
Another game where a strong alliance for most of the game, and then big stab, and then immediately that's it, I did it, we're done.
Yep.
Well, I think the scoring system seems to incentivize this, right? Because we've seen that there isn't a humongous difference between, say, winning on 9 versus winning on 12, right? It's like a point or two. And in the context of a 60 points being a good game, I mean, maybe it is just about, maybe the bonus, I don't know the details of the scoring system, but maybe the bonus for the top is so great that you just kind of go, it's either top or solo are the only kind of 2 reasonable options. What's the point of getting 15 if it's going to score you 65, not 62?
Yep. Yeah, that's the big. This is like the original tribute where the topping bonus was, it just topping mattered more than how much you topped by. So all right, so that was round 3, board 1. Round 3, board 2 gives us just one of the top 2 players. So we will have some drama going into board 3. We have Rennie playing 2 boards. So not only did he just dominate that board, he is playing Austria on board 2. England is Ariane Decker, who we haven't seen since round 1. Maybe took Saturday night off. France, Christian Wiestendahl. I'm going to say that right maybe this time. Germany, here we go. Yoni Zudinga. Italy, Liam Horn. Russia, David Wigglesworth. And Turkey, Francesco Conti. Let us see it. Since Francesco is Katie's favorite, Katie will kick us off.
All right. Okay. So Bounce the Black Sea, but he did not follow the con, which makes me think he's leaving it open intentionally to move out the fleet. I like that a lot. It's probably also a good reading of the room because Venice moved to Trieste immediately, and I would not be shocked to see a fleet follow into Aegean or maybe Eastern Med because we just saw that and that was kind of strange, but why not? In Germany, we've got pretty standard openings, although Munich holds, but not really the end of the world at all. England standard opening, extra trustworthy to France because they moved to Eddie instead of York, but pretty standard. And again, French, fairly standard. I think there's an AI, and that's all I really know about this game.
Let's see if your thoughts are correct. It is
what's it called? Is that the Kilopondo?
Yes, they did it. They did a key.
I don't love it for Italy in general. I think the army's kind of stranded, but it's super fun to see. And, that fleet in Aegean makes it so Serbia is not so lonely. So that's kind of fun for them. It still, I think, is it's a strong AI. It's a trust building AI. I don't know how efficient it is. It can be just as efficient as a regular one. So it's fun. We'll see. There's also probably an RT. We've seen this before though, and then immediately in fall or spring of 02, Russia drops into black. So hopefully for Francesco's sake, that's not what happens here. David in Russia is allowed into Sweden, which makes sense and is what I think Germany should be doing. So good for David, good for Yoni. England convoys into Belgium, completely unopposed. Also good for England. And we'll see what happens next.
The English armies have not gone there to die mostly this tournament. So,
they haven't.
Fleet Brest, Army London, 2 armies for Germany. I think we've seen that a couple times. 2 armies for Russia, Fleet Smyrna to stop the Italian fleet that is built in Army Budapest. All right, Jamal, spring 1902.
The English army's there to die. So it is gone. Yoni is siding with Christian and having a red hot crack at Aaron here. Christian's pushed into English Channel, Mid-Atlantic Ocean. So yeah, that is on like Donkey Kong against England. And in the south, it looks like another air, but it's again a little bit janky. Not another air. It's a Juggernaut versus an AI. Sorry, I misread that entirely. Russia has kind of done a little nice correct guess on Serbia here, slipping in as Bulgaria is taken. So I think this is actually a pretty good position for the Juggernaut, because even though they're losing Bulgaria and they've lost Romania, a lot of it's retrievable, and you've got a unit kind of behind the lines in Serbia. So yeah, I position over units, particularly in the spring. We'll see how it plays out, but I'm liking this position for David and Francesco.
I like it too. I also, in an RT, I really like a Russian fleet in Black Sea. I think you need something against the AI to defend, and I think the Russian unit makes a lot more sense because Turkey needs their fleets in the south. So I think this is really good for the two of them, and I'm hoping to see some really trustworthy alliance play here. I also love this position for Christian and France. Not only are they probably picking up Belgium, but if Yoni continues to work with them, they're going to be taking on England together, but Yoni only has one fleet, which I think means Christian is going to get the most out of England, and it could put them into a really strong position in a couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, right now you're convoying up maybe or walking to Irish. Let's see how Christian plays it. Oh, both.
Why not both, Kevin? Why not both? Wow.
¿Por qué no los dos is the question.
¿Por qué no los dos?
Los dos. Los dos.
Beautiful.
So takes Belgium, does all the convoys. Great set of moves here. Russia takes the good position to, support themselves back into Romania, which they lose Sev for. But I don't hate it, because you're picking up Serbia, and you can build in Moscow because you're also getting Norway here. So it's Sev is not actually that important in this situation, and you are putting Turkey back into Bulgaria, which is that important in this situation. Interesting that Liam didn't go for the Lepanto, decided instead to try and block Aegean. I guess maybe an attempt to defend Bulgaria or something, but it seems a bit miscommunicated between Liam and Renee. Could have been better, but definitely advantage Juggernaut here.
Yeah, good set of tactics for the Juggernaut, and fantastic moves for Christian, who is building one while England is pulling one. Fleet Marseille. Yeah, well.
Oh, this is such a good friends position. I love this. I love this for you, Christian. This is so good.
If this weren't a 1907 game, we would love to see this one run. But we will see how they play it. We have Army Budapest and Army Moscow and Army Khan. So
and Army Rome.
Yeah, we have four armies. Each of the Eastern powers are building, and they all, I think, were sideways this turn.
All right, we've got France taking York and set up. So I'm thinking Belgium is arranged. Probably, I mean, Belgium walks right out of that. So we'll see how friendly Denmark wants to, or Germany wants to be. Denmark could tap north and guarantee that London also falls this year. Russia sort of retreating back a little bit, maybe trying to get that fleet in Sweden into play to have some say in what happens in England, and is going to move the army back to Sweden, or maybe just wants the army to defend in the south. Although Austria has left Sebastopol to retake Romania. There's a lot going on, but it's looking good for Turkey, right? Turkey takes Greece with the fleet and also takes Eastern Med, as I think Italy is turning on Austria? Question mark? Maybe is in Adriatic for defensive support. Maybe.
Adriatic is never defensive support.
You wouldn't think so, but then if you're going against Austria, why not convoy Tunis back? I don't know. Maybe it's just a deal with Turkey to just back off. And
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised here if the convoy happens now. Tunis to Trieste, supported by Venice.
Yeah, maybe it'll probably go right. I'm sure Vienna and Budapest and everything will be tapped. So
let's see it. The convoy does.
Nope.
To Greece, but not to Trieste though.
Oh, why Greece? Okay, so this is such a mess, right? Because I think Renee was expecting the Italian attack on Trieste, but then it seems like Liam was expecting Austrian support into Greece. I'm not sure. It's a great turn for Russia. That's what I know. Russia picks up Sev again, retakes Romania, and still is holding on to Serbia. So that army in Serbia was really great. Still a good turn for Turkey, who holds on to Greece. So just an excellent turn for the Juggernaut and a really bad turn for the AI. In the West, Germany takes Belgium, but also says, okay, now I'll take your goodwill and I'll take Burgundy also. So France does not get into London because Denmark didn't tap North Sea. And so France will stay even. Germany will build one. And Russia is moving into position to make a play on England. There's a lot of trust right now between David and Yoni. I really expected the army in Finland to go to Sweden, but they are sort of completely demilitarizing their borders. Well,
Yeah.
Denmark's still there, but still.
Yoni is showing she's playing for the tournament win here, which I love. She's in contention. She's got a great shot. She has a board that doesn't have a lot of other people with a shot on it. So yeah, go for it. This is great.
And I like this too because you have a bunch of armies. You're more likely to get something out of France and England. So I think it's a good pivot for her.
Yep. Good bit of balance here up and down. We've got another build for Russia. We've had a couple of good Russias in a row. Let's see where this one goes. Army Warsaw, Army Tank, Army Munich. Fleet Eddie off the board. Spring 1904, Jamal.
Yep. So Yoni repositions, still with a good spot on France, but also now wants a little bit of play over in the east. And I wonder whether this is to help or hinder Russia. They've been working really well together with them, but also if she wants the board top, she can't have David being this far ahead. Yeah. So yeah, it looks like there's at least somewhat of a peace deal with Christian, holding position but not going to press it. And in the meantime, Liam does get that convo back in, has decided eventually they do want to go after Renee. Francesco is proceeding with the Juggernaut and making gains as they do it because David's getting into Budapest.
Beautiful RT right now. I really like this.
Yep.
Yeah, it's clean, really clean.
We'll do a second bit of thank yous. We did one earlier on for the backstabbers, as I call them, the folks entering in the orders. There was probably a bounce in Sweden. We don't know that, but in saving time in a Sunday round, the non-important or non-consequential orders sometimes get missed. But we thank you for those who backstabbed this weekend, both on and off the board. Wow, yeah. Russia's rolling.
The Juggernaut is on. It is Budapest into Vienna and into Romania to Budapest, Sev to Romania. Russia is rolling. Russia's losing Norway, which is, and again, it could be agreed. It could actually be this idea that they want to keep England alive and causing a pain to France and Germany. And if you don't need it, you don't need it, right? So, because they are blocking Edinburgh for England in this scenario. Yoni's just slowly pushing into a position in the east. Surprise, Bohemia doesn't support Vienna here. Either you support Vienna or you support Budapest into Vienna. I'm not sure what doing nothing is doing. Maybe it supported Munich to Tyrolia and was just missed on the backstabber. Yep. Trying to get position to at least have some play so that Russia doesn't roll over the entire board like a steamroller. They say the Juggernaut is scary for a reason, and when you can get it running like this, it can be very hard to stop.
Yeah. Well, they're only even, though. Picked up 2, but lost Norway, lost Serbia. So Francesco and Christian are the builders here. They put down Fleet Smyrna, Fleet Brest. Spring 1905.
Yeah, 1905, we've got Turkey moving into Trieste with Russian support. This is just full-on moving through. I think, there's a great argument for Black Sea to be Russian early on in a jug. I don't think it's necessarily a great argument now. If I were Francesco, I would be asking David to put that back in Sev. Just keep me a little bit safe. Ankara could be moving out or maybe convoying over to Italy at some point. Just clear up your borders a little bit. But otherwise, this RT is in lockstep and it's really fun. Norway moves to St. Pete. It's a fleet, so it's not going to do too much else to hurt Russia. So maybe David's not too worried about that. He also can just take Norway this year, probably. France and Germany / Russia fighting over North Sea is kind of interesting. Could be arranged. Could just be, I don't know if it's necessarily arranged, but it doesn't really seem like anybody's trying that hard, if that makes sense. I think people are sort of seeing where things go. I don't know.
There's a little lack of whole board awareness, I think, from Christian and Yoni here, because I understand you guys are at loggerheads. I understand that your easiest next grabs are from each other. But when you've got such a clear Juggernaut that is so lockstep and has been the whole game, sometimes you just have to work with someone you don't want to work with. I think there's David's doing a great job of continuing to play them off each other and particularly helping Yoni into North Sea, that kind of thing. But yeah, I think both of them probably need to look up a little bit from their initial fight and see what's going on the other side of the board and how quickly that's resolving.
All right, into the fall, we see a few more black arrows in the west this time.
I was thinking about this while Jamal was talking. I was listening to Jamal, but I was also thinking about what was going to happen with that fleet in St. Pete. And if I were Russia, what I would want to have happen, and I would have maybe supported him into Norway or something, because if I'm Russia, in this position, I really want to open up St. Pete for a build. There's always a risk that it doesn't move, and then you lose, St. Pete. You don't gain Norway, so it's like a huge guessing game. So I was really curious to see how it turned out. Turns out maybe the better play would have been just allowing Russia to go back to St. Pete, and then back to Norway, allowing England to go back to Norway. Russia can build in St. Pete. You can take Norway next year, but not the end of the world. You still get your build. You're still doing great. And in the south, your ally Turkey has another build in Trieste, and things are really rolling. So there's really not a lot to complain about in either R or T at this point. France does make it to North Sea, which may mean France gets Eddie next year. We will see how that works. But Germany is in Burgundy once again. So, yeah, just pulling out of the East altogether and not having sort of a concern about the juggernaut, as Jamal was maybe foreshadowing. But maybe this game is going to end with a Russian top right now. And I don't know.
8-7-7-6. The only adjustment on the board is the continued Turkish growth. Another fleet in Smyrna. I think that's what the fourth in a row now. We've got that build and spring 1906. They are still playing.
They're still playing. Forget everything. Oh, it's your turn, Jamal. It's your turn.
Oh, it's okay. But yeah, if I'm Yoni, this is the turn that I need to have my ally in Russia stab Turkey, or it is off. And it is not stabbing Turkey. They're holding still, which again may be setting up for a Turkish stab because they're not pushing the line against you. But Russia has to pick a side here. And if you're not picking my side, I need to be concerned about that.
Yeah, but Tyrolia is supporting Trieste and Venice, though. So
yeah, so maybe this is a three-way alliance, right? But I mean, at the end of the day, David has no more growth in this alliance. So maybe David's okay with that. But I mean, Eddie is maybe the only other Russian center on this board if this is a Germany, Russia, Turkey. So yeah, I just think it can be hard if you're the third person joining a two-way alliance, that these people have been working together for the past few hours, right? Like unless they are actually maybe tensions there, you kind of got to assume they're going to stick together and they're just using you. And unless you've done a really good job of communicating this whole game and building the stronger alliance than the two of them, it's a risky play to make. So, because cooperation breeds trust. So if they've been cooperating, it's likely they trust each other. Now, yeah, maybe David's nice and maybe David's chill with just sharing a board top here, in which case then maybe this is all right. But yeah, Yoni's making a little bit of progress against France. Other than that, Turkey's making all the progress against Liam. And yeah, here comes the Turks. And this is going to, I think this game will either end really soon or David will pick a side really soon.
So I'll make the pitch here for this is a Sunday round. Sometimes Sunday rounds are just fun. Yoni, we were talking about it. I forget if it was round 1 or round 2. We don't know. Maybe this is one of her first tournaments. She's not pushing for a tournament win. She's just playing every game to play the game. This is going to get them a good alliance. She knows she has no shot at the win at this point because RT is so strong. They're not going to throw her a board top. The only way she competes is with the board top. She's not there yet. They're going to play it out.
Yeah, Jamal, you sound like a shark right now, trying to say she should be stabbing everybody and winning. Come on, Jamal. I thought you were in a line.
Yeah, this system is board top mania. So.
Oh yeah, and to be fair, Katie, I want everyone else to stab everybody and win. I just want to stab anybody.
Right. Yeah.
This is the grand Jade Buddha meta, is that everybody else is chaos and the Jade Buddha is peace.
I think Russia's going to top anyway.
Yeah.
I think it's okay.
I think Russia's going to top anyway. Yeah, and so a little bit of progress by Turkey, but not much else going on here. I reckon we're going to get a draw pretty soon.
Yeah, Katie was correct with France picking up Edinburgh. So that was a good call from last year. England does fall off the map after that one. Russia picks up St. Pete and stays on top. builds Army Warsaw. We got a fleet in Brest, Army Ank, since Smyrna is occupied. So not another one. Spring 1907. Hey, they're playing to the deadline.
Wow. Why? For what?
Well, Russia
Ukraine.
not doing anything. Moving to Tyrolia. Here, I'll do this one. North Sea goes back to France. No other chance of a supported attack unless Russia's going to stab. No, there we go. That's it.
Okay.
All right. So, congratulations, David. Nice board top here at the end. The best juggernaut we saw all weekend long. 60 points. Not the best Russia either. So, that gets us to round 3, board 3. Before we do that, we're going to take a quick peek at the standings. Here's where we stand as of this point. So, Rennie did play 2 boards. I think it's the best 3 of 4. I don't think it's all 4. So we'll have to check to see what that 138 means. But McCullough, with 1 board left to play, only needs 20 points. 20 points is a middling score.
And if Renee's doesn't get all those points, he might only have to beat Yoni, which is like 5 points.
Yep. Yeah. And that is just survival. But as we know, a middling result for McCullough is about a 14 center board top. But to do that, he will have to go through William Lobukin in Austria, Tom de Grief in England. Tom must have been playing 2 boards because he was on round 3, board 1. Isaac Jukes in France, David de Graaf in Germany, McCullough himself there in Italy, Marcus Olsen in Russia, and Simon Westendrup in Turkey. Let us get to the map. All right, Jamal, you are the odd one this turn. Let's start us off.
Yeah, we have a pretty standard set of openings all around, really. So we finally see the DMZ of Galicia again, which is lovely. Simon's in Armenia. That's about all there is to it at the start. Everything else is pretty stock standard.
Good job, David. You did the correct thing with Kiel by moving to Denmark.
And if you could be in any better of a position in a 1907 game where you need a survival to win the championship, being in Italy is not a bad place to be, and staying home, not worrying about it. Trieste is going to attack you, though.
Walking to Tunis. Well, Trieste is attacking you, but you're attacking Trieste. That's agreed. Simon has tried to go into Black Sea and also bounce Greece, which is an interesting choice. Could have bounced Romania there. Maybe Ukraine did support Sev. Marcus has gotten into Sweden. The Isaac Jukes is helping David de Graaf into Belgium. So de Graaf not feeling the love this turn. Other than that, neutrals are taken and the real tension builds.
No.
I bet McCullough fainted when he saw Turkey fighting both Russia and Austria, because this man loves an IT more than anything I have ever seen in my life.
He's working it behind the scenes. Let's see if we get the army. We get a wave, even better.
A wave, yes. Go Simon.
No! No, why? That's so bad. Oh, no.
Germany.
Okay, I'm rooting for you.
Germany,
You
2
can do it,
fleets.
but that's so bad.
Go. Fleet North Coast for Marcus, Fleet London, and Fleet Brest. This is fun. All right. Spring 1902, north to Channel.
Why do you need to build? Why build? Why build if Austria will just help you in Romania? I will say Bulgaria is looking quite vulnerable. I don't love this position for Simon, but oh my gosh, he does get Austrian support into Romania. And if this is one of those things where Austria supports him in the spring and then betrays him in the fall, fine. If it's not, and if Simon really has William on his side, then kudos. In the West, yeah, we've got Germany already in North Sea. Why is England supporting themselves from Tom? Okay, I know Tom knows how to play diplomacy, or at least has played for a while. Why are you supporting yourself to the channel when Germany's just built 2 fleets? Are you just giving up? Maybe he's somehow more mad at Isaac